your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. A historic moon mission wraps up tonight. Artemis 2 is set for splashdown in the Pacific Ocean just after 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
I'm Peter King at the Kennedy Space Center.
Does have about 2 rows worth of text.
Mission Control relaying the numbers for an 8-second rocket firing to fine-tune Artemis 2's trajectory.
Jackie, that is a great call. Thank you for that information.
Pilot Victor Glover and his crewmates are pretty much packed up and ready for their fiery re-entry at some 24,000 miles per hour. The forecast for the landing site southwest of San Diego, scattered clouds with 4-foot waves.
The burn referred to just happened successfully. U.S. and Iranian negotiators are expected in Islamabad, Pakistan, for high-stakes peace negotiations tomorrow. Key points of contention include Tehran's control of the Strait of Hormuz and Israel's ongoing conflict with Iranian proxy Hezbollah in Lebanon. CBS's Natalie Brand says Vice President J.D. Vance will join envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner.
As Vance has now left on his way to Islamabad, we have this new threat from the Speaker of Iran's parliament, who is also said to be one of the negotiators who will be there. And he said that the Iranians want the ceasefire in Lebanon and a release of Iran's blocked assets before negotiations begin.
The Iran war sent U.S. inflation soaring in March, with the consumer price index rising at a 3.3% annual rate. CBS's Kelly O'Grady says it's the highest reading in nearly 2 years.
The takeaway here is that inflation seemed to be pretty contained everywhere else in the economy. That is good news. The big question is if this does continue on, and when we get the April CPI report, has that energy inflation spread and leaked into other parts of the economy?
5 people are charged with murder in a deadly Northern California explosion at a fireworks warehouse last July. The Yolo County District Attorney's Office says the charges stem from a grand jury indictment that has found 5 people, including a former Yolo County Sheriff Lieutenant responsible for the explosion in Esparto that killed 7 people. Former Vice President Kamala Harris says she is considering another run for the Oval Office.
That's the crowd at the National Action Network's annual convention telling former Vice President Kamala Harris to run for president again in 2028. Activist Reverend Al Sharpton asked directly whether she will do so.
Listen, I might. I'm thinking about it.
Harris got the only standing ovation this week. Allison Keyes, CBS News.
Stocks are mixed on Wall Street. This is CBS News.
The stars shine brighter on CBS Morning.
This is a slam dunk.
So cute.
Gail came in singing for me today.
On CBS Mornings.
A major issue with Ichiro's statue. That's all I can say right now in order to spoil the story. So stick around. We're going to have KIRO News Radio real-time traffic first, as we usually do. We are looking better on 405 northbound. We're pretty much back to almost a speed limit commute from Renton to Bellevue after 2 crashes there were cleared. We do seem to have some slowing on the merge from I-90 in both directions to 405. Not sure what that is. There's not a lot of volume on 405 right now. I-5 in and out of Seattle is not a bad drive. We are slowing down from about Boeing Field into downtown, and the southbound slowing starts from about Northgate, but it's still only just going to cost you a few minutes. The lake bridges are clear, and it's a speed limit drive most other places. This report brought to you by KIRO News Radio.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Jillian Raftery. Every Mariners fan is hoping today was not a sign. The bat on Ichiro's new statue broke when it was unveiled about half an hour ago.
It's now time to unveil Ichiro's statue. A drum roll, please.
Voice of the Mariners, Rick Riz, counted down to the big moment at a group of baseball royalty, including Ken Griffey Jr., pulled the sheet off the statue, and that bat seemed to wiggle and then keel over, and Rick Riz tried to laugh it off.
There's a fastball inside, and he still got a base hit.
It appears the weight of the sheet broke it. We don't know. We will be asking for more information. Later, it did look like someone gave it at least a temporary fix. The Mariners do take on the Astros at home tonight, and fans who go have the possibility of getting a replica statue, but that bat will be upright. He's a minority owner of the Seattle Sounders, but even Drew Carey mispronounced the name of a city landmark. Carey was featured in a video promoting the FIFA World Cup in Seattle and stopped by the Pike Place Market.
There's a famous place called Pike's Market, really famous.
Carey was ridiculed on social media for the verbal gaffe, even one user saying they expect better from a man who calls Seattle his second home. Now, we got to get to some more serious news as Seattle police detectives are asking for the public's help to find an extremely dangerous man wanted for an extremely violent assault.
Police say the unidentified suspect walked into the Safeway Market on Occidental, stole a bottle of wine, and when employees tried to stop him, SPD Detective Eric Munoz says the man used the bottle as a weapon.
The first victim sustained a significant facial injuries. There's going to be some permanent disfigurement, and our second victim sustained very serious head trauma. That individual is still in the hospital.
You can see the man's photo at mynorthwest.com. Police want you to pay particular attention to his head covering, his shirt, and his shoes. If you recognize the man, call 911. James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
And we do have a picture of that man on mynorthwest.com. Now let's check your weather forecast, and it's still forecasted to be cloudy, partly cloudy, and very nice and warm, cozy, 68 degrees, but rain is likely tomorrow with a high of 57. It's 58 degrees in downtown Seattle right now. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
And now, it's time for the Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio with your hosts, Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Friday edition of the Jake and Spike Show. I'm Spike O'Neill, along with Mike Lewis, sitting in today. Mike, welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
We have a big show planned for you. Lots of coverage on the reentry of Artemis 2, which is scheduled to splash down off the coast of San Diego, or San Diego. I'm not going to do. But we have to turn our attention south to T-Mobile Park, because what was intended to be, and it still is, a celebratory moment honoring the Hall of Fame career of Ichiro Suzuki in Seattle, and the unveiling of the Ichiro statue. As Jillian brought to you, we had live coverage. There was a beautiful unveiling ceremony. Everybody was in attendance, and the statue broke. I mean, broke. We've all seen I think if you haven't seen the statue yet, a recreation iteration of the statue, it's Ichiro's famous dance where he tugs on his sleeve and his bat is raised, at pre-swing at every at bat, and the tarp, the blue silk sheet that they had covering the statue, as Rick Riz, for all the calls Rick Riz ever makes, this one may go down as the most infamous.
I mean, he didn't have. This was not a baseball event.
No,
this was something else.
No
one I think there was expecting.
5, 4, 3, 2. Exactly. Holy, yeah. The bat itself just snapped at the handle, right at Ichiro's fist. Well, the weakest point of the statue, structurally, it's not hard to see that that's.
I mean, if it had been put next to, say, the Randy Johnson statue, that would make a whole lot more sense, because that was a lot of broken bats. He led to a lot of broken bats. But the fact that it wasn't next to the Randy Johnson statue, I mean, that makes it obviously a mistake.
Does Randy doesn't have a statue yet, right?
No, I don't.
But there should there
and
be,
he would probably have one in Arizona.
Should there be an exploding bird?
Maybe that would be even a better one.
The same person who made the Griffey and the Edgar and the Dave Niehaus statues that adorn T-Mobile Park, they're all beautiful work. They're wonderful statues. And that's a man named Lou. I think it's Sella. It might be Kella. I'm not sure how to pronounce Lou's name. He's based out of Chicago. Clearly a White Sox fan and not a Mariner fan. How do you build a statue that can't stand up to sheets?
I don't know exactly what the material is. I haven't actually seen the thing in person. I've just seen the video, as I'm sure many of you will. Call it up. You'll see the broken bat as well. So I don't know what it's made out of. It seems to me like a lot of it, depending on what they made it out of.
Yeah.
It seems, and it looks like bronze, I guess. If you look at it closely, I don't know that the bat is necessarily that, but it seems odd that it was draped in a large.
Yeah, like we've all
and
seen
I don't know what the material is. I'm sure it wasn't silk, but it's this large satin-ish drape, obviously to do the unveiling.
Right.
It doesn't seem like enough weight to actually compromise the statue. I don't know.
Maybe we can get a structural engineer to talk about foot-pound torque of a 200 square foot tarp-like cover, and it's pull upon a 90-degree prone bronze wrapped. I mean, because some of the pictures that are available show that there's a metal core to this. There's a metal frame to the statue, apparently.
Yeah. Most sculptures, right?
But I have always thought they were just solid.
No, frequently not.
Really? Is it safety?
Well, I mean, they were solid in
ancient Rome,
and
Greece.
Ancient Greece.
Sure.
They're marble, right? But now they're not. And sometimes they're cast. I mean, that's not entirely true. But once you get to that size of a statue, it gets enormously heavy.
Yeah, but you're talking about a public statue is going to last for decades and decades and decades, right?
Conceivably.
That's going to be subject to public abuse, as we learned from the Griffey statue. Remember when somebody had too many pops and broke the bat off of the Griffey statue?
Right. Well, at least we got this one out of the way early.
The puns were flying around the KIRO newsroom. Maybe this was it. John Rep said maybe this is the break we needed to turn the Mariners season around.
Wow.
Well, I was hearing this might be an omen for the Mariners. Fingers crossed it's not.
What else could go wrong?
Yeah, seriously.
I've heard that too. Exactly. I've heard it's a very light bat. Put up my mic.
We'll tell that to Edgar.
Yeah, right. It's
a light bat.
It's a very light bat.
And also, especially for somebody, an athlete who was super meticulous about his bats. I mean, stored them in a humidor, right? Always had literally weighed them. Like this was a guy no one cared about his bats more in Major League Baseball, probably Major League Baseball history, than Ichiro, and we give him a broken bat.
There'll be 40,000 Ichiro statue replicas distributed at the game tonight.
If they don't do the Ichiro bobblehead with a broken bat, they're missing a huge opportunity.
Genius.
That'd be very funny.
Oh, that's great. But they also didn't take my idea of the double bobble big dumper.
Yeah.
With a bobble butt with a bobble head, but a bobble bat is genius. I've heard it called the Hinden bat already. Of the humanity. It was just a rather embarrassing moment for the Mariners, but you laugh it off. That's what you got to do. Let's start. You know what? I'd rather have a broken bat than a busted heat shield. Can I bet that for a segue?
I agree that. Yeah.
Artemis 2 will splash down this evening. This is by far the most dangerous element of the reentry of the Artemis 2 and their crew of 4. Currently, there's like a countdown. They're currently around 40,000 miles from Earth.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, traveling at a rate of about 6,400 miles per hour currently.
Currently, it'll get a lot faster.
That's what I saw. At the time of reentry, Artemis will enter the atmosphere at 24,000 miles per hour.
Mm-hmm.
Is that because the thinness of the atmosphere?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's also thinness in the atmosphere and the pull of gravity and the angle of approach, all of it, yeah.
So this is the same
the
Artemis.
Speed that it's also coming back, right?
Right. This is the same capsule, or the same design type capsule that returned for Artemis 1, and there were heat shield issues with that.
Yep.
But they have been painstakingly addressed and tested. And
I mean, they've yes, to some degree, but really,
yeah. Go ahead.
But really, what they've done is just done their actuarial table on whether or not this is a big enough risk. I mean, the fact is, every time a plane takes off, there is a calculated risk, right? Everything. Like there's that is super, super common. But so what they have to do in these sort of situations is calculate for is an acceptable level of risk. And remember the other capsule. The dummy capsule that was for testing, when it came down, the astronauts, had they been inside of it, would have survived just fine. They would have had no notice of the heat shield getting compromised, although they don't want to ever see that because famously it was heat shielding that failed on one of the Challengers. On the Challenger. I think it was the Challenger. One was a seal and one was a heat shield.
It was an O-ring and seal that
was one.
Exploded. Right, the first one.
And the second one was
not.
A
heat shield.
Heat shield.
Right.
And so that obviously is a critical
that's
critical
the life
component.
and death moment.
And so everyone gets very, very reactive on that, justifiably. NASA seems to feel like this is not. It's not extending the risk profile to a place that is not that they wouldn't bring the astronauts back. But the fact of the matter is, they don't have a choice.
True.
They don't have a choice. This thing cannot go and stay in orbit longer. It's going to come in, and there's no way to fix it. This is where it's going. I mean, I like the fact that they say it's incredibly small odds that something bad happens. So that's what we're all rooting for, because this would be if this were a failure, not just to mention how awful it would be for the astronauts, obviously, and their families.
Of course, yeah.
But we're at a sort of really pivot point in our space program, both the privatization of it and the government-sponsored end of it. And
do you think
this thing is being watched very, very, very closely?
Do you think it does? I hadn't even contemplated that. That if a disastrous, and knock wood, if it'll go smoothly and things will be great and they'll be fine return to home.
Right.
Do you think a disastrous would really derail?
Oh, it'd completely derail it.
Really?
Completely. I mean, it would also, push things more toward the privatization. I think that has upsides. I think it also has downsides.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping in this particular case, we're having a conversation about nothing at this point.
Right.
That none of this is going that way.
Well, you also, it's funny, you mentioned that every time you get on an airplane, you take a risk.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, the airline companies, the manufacturers, actually run these tables. They actually know, because there comes a point where you could make a plane tremendously more expensive and add additional sort of safety features, but at some point you don't go. It's a diminishing return. Like the more you do, the less you can actually accomplish with that. But you're spending a bunch of money, and at some point, it's extraordinarily safe right now. It's not foolproof, but it's extraordinarily safe. So you have to sort of figure, all right, then the percentages say this is perfect for what we need to do. It's not. There's no sort of foolproof method of anything involving humans.
Well, there's somebody ran the numbers, and the gentleman they quoted in this piece I'm reading from the New York Times, I believe it is, said that there is a 1 in 9 million chance of catastrophic occurrence with a air flight.
Right.
1 in 9 million.
Right.
But it's a 1 in 20 he estimated a 1 in 20 chance that this could go horribly wrong for the
push on those numbers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, plus it's sheer volume of space of air travel gives us those numbers.
Well, and just the reiteration on the technology and things
over
like
and over.
That.
Right. They get a lot of
There's a lot of
tries.
new things that are being developed for aircraft that are actually substantially affecting all of this. So this is. I mean, I'm sure the odds are that. I've read that. I've read things that showed it lower than that, but they all are incredibly higher than taking a plane flight.
Oh, absolutely, of course, because you're doing something that has only been done a handful of times in the history of humanity.
But this is something, and the nice thing, I think the good thing that they did here was they got out in front of it. They talked about the heat shield issues. They, obviously every person on board knew about that before they got onto this.
Yes, they did.
All of them could have opted out, and no one chose to. And so I'm not saying that they picked it and they should have, therefore they are taking ownership of whatever bad thing might happen. I'm just simply saying that this is in the profile of every space mission we've ever done.
Right. And we often talk about how these are heroes and these are pioneers, explorers. But this is the moment where you realize just what they risk by taking on that heroic stature and making these heroic efforts. So it'll be right about evening time, and we'll keep you posted about the course of the day as updates come. I did hear a former astronaut who has gone through the reentry process. They said that the chute deployment is the most difficult experience of the entirety of the mission.
Yeah,
that horrific dead stop from 24,000 miles an hour, basically almost to zero, and as the thing churns and sways and rolls and pitches. That moment is horrific.
Yeah, I would imagine. The whole thing is a little bit nerve-wracking because remember, astronauts at this particular point are cargo. They're not doing any flying.
No, you're right.
They are cargo.
They're willful passengers.
You have to kind of sit there and take it.
Speaking of passengers for a ride, that's how we feel in Seattle. It's the first 100 days of Mayor Katie Wilson. There's a piece in the Times today that we took a look at and kind of reviewing the first 100 days of the mayor's agenda and accomplishments and what the mayor has learned from with the way of accomplishments and mistakes. And Mike, I'm wondering, you follow the mayor, obviously you follow the city politics really closely. We all do here in the business. How would you assess the mayor's first 100 days? Anything that stood out to you from an accomplishment perspective? Any major?
The first 100 days for most mayors in Seattle, the Seattle history, and in fact, probably, we always do the first 100 days with the president. They can do a little bit more in terms of like executive orders and whatnot. I mean, she said essentially two big buckets that she's talked about: homelessness and housing affordability. Those are the two,
which go hand in hand, basically.
Yeah, those are the two things. And and on homelessness, she actually has the initiative on 1,000 new shelters. So that is new. That's something that the prior mayor Bruce Harrell had not pushed as hard. He talked about a lot, but didn't actually do a whole lot in that regard. So that's something, and I think that's good. And she's focusing on the tiny homes, and I think that's among the alternatives at this point, probably the best one. She's also talked about zoning and affordability, upzoning, making it easier to build ADUs, making it cheaper to build ADUs, making it upzoning a lot of the neighborhoods where you're running into sort of this weird thing where people who are inherently supportive, maybe inherently liberal or progressive, live in, let's just say they live in Magnolia, let's say they live in Queen Anne, or let's say they live in Ballard. Maybe they're a little less interested in townhouses populating their street.
Losing the culture and the flavor of a neighborhood.
Totally. So she is going to run into, there's a whole bunch of people that, if you want to talk about modern NIMBYism, it always gets brought up in relation to drug treatment centers or homeless shelters and things like that. And those are single issue things. If you're not within a couple of blocks, you probably, don't care one way or the other.
Yeah.
If you're close to it, maybe you're supportive of it, maybe you're not, because you feel like what it's going to bring in its wake. But the upzoning thing is a whole different matter. When you know that your whole neighborhood is going to get slowly remapped, when you are seeing that, I mean, part of you wants houses to be more affordable, but part of you wants the neighborhood to sort of not get ultra dense. This is a tough thing to navigate. I mean, Minneapolis famously suspended all zoning, like essentially said you can go dense in any place in town. And it has led to some more housing. It hasn't really solved a lot of the problems. Minneapolis is very different for people who want to sort of compare that to Seattle. There's almost no environmental review. So
in Minneapolis.
So they can get that stuff moving along much more quickly.
Yeah,
than
here we
Seattle,
are burdened with.
In Seattle, the environmental review sometimes is wholly necessary, and sometimes is just used as a method for delay to make it more expensive or more difficult to build additional housing units. I'm not saying that is exclusively housed, and I'm saying it's used in a variety of ways. And some of it absolutely is to protect the environment. And so what you have here is people who are inherently the natural constituency for Katie Wilson in the privacy of their voting booth are not going to be supported. Some of them are not going to be supporting this, and some of them are sort of, all right, I'll put my money where my mouth is. Fine. I'm not going to enjoy the process in my neighborhood, but I'm still going to support that because we do need more housing.
It's a greater good mentality.
We have, since Mayor Jenny Durkin, when the city really started pushing hard at rezoning and upzoning in a variety of areas, although not as vast as the housing advocates would say that the city should have been. The one thing that we did in Seattle that people sometimes don't recognize, we added a whole bunch of housing. We did not add any affordability. You're
right, absolutely right.
We increased density and not affordability, and that's in part because of the big incomes coming through town and whatnot. And
that's just taking on new money and new
institutional investment in property, which I still would argue is a bigger problem is as big of a problem than housing availability. The fact that a lot of houses, you are competing with investment firms that are buying up available housing.
Yeah.
This is a problem, and I wish that the city would look at that along with zoning issues, because the zoning issues, as they are right now, are going to help those companies in a greater way than they are any individual trying to buy a house.
It's funny because that was one of the policy platforms of the Harris campaign,
right?
Which has now been adopted by the Trump administration. Maybe that has to happen at a federal level.
We'll see.
When we talk real quick, I know we're almost out of time. I want to say hopefully the mayor has learned in her first 100 days that you don't stand on the doorstep of one of your largest employers and businesses like she did in front of Starbucks first week in office and say, don't shop here.
Right.
And vilify a company that is now seeking its to at least relocate some of its operations to Tennessee.
Oh, no. Yeah, I know a couple of people who might be affected by this.
So when we come back, folks, it's the Jake and Spike Show. Mike Lewis is in for Jake Skorheim today. What do we got when we come back? I'm usually pretty good at this. Oh, you know what? The World Cup's coming to town.
World Cup is coming to town.
Can you trust the food you eat on the way into the building? City wants you to be able to do that. We'll tell you what we know. Coming up next.
Local news from local voices you trust.
Flights out of Joint Base Lewis McChord.
KIRO News Radio.
Questions about whether the Pentagon is deploying special forces to the Middle East.
The news you depend on.
Gas prices up 25 cents in the last week.
Conversation.
Then all of a sudden, Trump comes out, hey, we're having productive talks.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
Touchdown, Seahawks!
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM. Streaming everywhere on the KIRO News Radio app.
You know, considering the option of assisted living for a parent or loved one can be one of the hardest decisions you will ever make, but it doesn't have to be. Here's what I wish someone had told me sooner. Aegis Living, aegisliving.com/spike. Go and book an appointment today. Take a tour of an Aegis facility. They're all across the great Northwest or the King County area. You'll see luxury amenities, resort-style living. It's an incredible experience. It's an incredible community. Voted Best of Western Washington. And with 500,000 reviews, over 60,000 communities nationwide, Seniorly has ranked Aegis Living #1 senior living community in America for all America for 2025. Go to aegisliving.com/spike and book a visit. When you do, you'll be turning to whoever you're with and saying, this must be the place, because it is. aegisliving.com.
You know, retirement is supposed to be a time of rest and relaxation. But every week I get calls from seniors who are stressed out because their cost of living keeps going up. They love their home and they want to stay in it, but they're struggling with rising property taxes, monthly bills, and monthly mortgage payments if they have one. Hi, I'm Steve Tytler, owner of Best Mortgage, a local family-owned company. I specialize in the reverse mortgage, which allows seniors to tap into your home equity for tax-free cash to pay off your mortgage, pay off debts, and maybe put some extra money in the bank. A reverse mortgage is a great option for some people, but it's not right for everyone. So give me a call and you'll talk directly to me in person or over the phone for honest advice you can trust. Search for Best Mortgage on the web or call us at 425-649-6000. You'll talk to me, not an AI robot. Best Mortgage, 425-649-6000.
Brock Ewart here with my buddy Shannon O'Kelly from IRG Physical and Hand Therapy. Shannon, we met about a decade ago when you came into the studio, and at that point, IRG was humming, but you were not 40 locations strong all over the neighborhood. How have you done this and why?
Number one, Brock, great people. Our strength here at IRG is our people. Secondly, you know, we are a company that has a culture of giving back and taking care of our patients, taking care of our team, and thirdly, taking care of our community. We want to be your family physical therapist. More importantly, we want to be your family's neighborhood physical therapist. We want you to come in, have a great experience, and get better and get out there and be pain-free and function.
Take care of your friends. Taking care of your neighbors, taking care of your community, and taking care of Western Washington. With over 40 locations now, that's exactly what IRG Physical and Hand Therapy is doing. Find them in person, find them online at irgpt.com. That's irgpt.com.
The stock market was on fire in 2025 due to AI and tech stocks. Now is the time to set a strategy for 2026. It's a good opportunity to lock in those gains and invest into a stable platform. With $8 trillion in cash sitting on the sidelines, investors are either scared or unsure where to go. Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Legacy Group Capital develops local real estate, lends money, and shares the profits with our investors. Diversify with Legacy Group Capital. Invest into our Northwest Fund, which is currently delivering 9% on a fixed rate term. It's our flagship fund for 19 years with zero investor losses. And yes, we do accept IRAs. Find out why 1,300 local investors have invested over $350 million.
Legacy Group Capital at legacyg.com. This is not investment advice. Investments available to accredited investors only. Details at legacyg.com.
Aetna was there for me as I was going through a rough medical patch this year. I had peace of mind, which helped with my healing.
Those words from a real Aetna Medicare Advantage member speak to why U.S. News & World Report named us a best Medicare Advantage company. Because we show up on calls with members and doctors' offices when requested. We show up with the latest in online tools for easier access to healthcare. We show up for you. Because that's how healthier happens together. Member feedback has been edited for length and clarity.
Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
How does your roof look after this winter? Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. Spring into action today. Save $3,000 on a new roof, siding, deck, or windows. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Jillian Raftery. Vice President J.D. Vance heads to Pakistan today.
We're looking forward to the negotiation. I think it's going to be positive. We'll, of course, see, as the President of the United States said, if the Iranians are willing to negotiate in good faith, we're certainly willing to extend the open hand. If they're going to try to play us, then they're going to find that the negotiating team is not that receptive.
Those peace talks are scheduled for tomorrow with Iran, but CBS's Elizabeth Palmer in Tel Aviv says there is the possibility the Iranians will be a no-show.
Their bottom line still seems to be there has to be a ceasefire in Lebanon, and Israel is going no dice. In fact, the military said today battling Hezbollah in Lebanon is its chief priority now. We have to assume there's a lot of horse trading going on behind the scenes, and we won't really know the outcome probably till tomorrow.
Consumer prices spiked to 3.3% in March, the biggest jump in inflation in 4 years. CBS's Kelly O'Grady tells us war-related increases in gas and fuel oil led the way.
The takeaway here is that inflation seemed to be pretty contained everywhere else in the economy. That is good news. The big question is if this does continue on, and when we get the April CPI report, has that energy inflation spread and leaked into other parts of the economy?
Gas prices have held steady over the last 24 hours. Some stations may have even lowered prices. Washington's average for unleaded is $5.40, just 15 cents from record territory. The first human voyage to the moon in more than half a century comes to a close today with a splashdown in the Pacific Ocean.
A crowd cheered the liftoff at the Museum of Flight April 1st, and now, as Artemis 2 astronauts prepare to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere, all eyes will be on the Orion capsule's heat shield. Ted Hutter with the Museum of Flight says it's designed to absorb temperatures approaching 5,000 degrees.
That heat shield has to work perfectly. There's really no option for that. You know, it has to work.
Hutter says the Museum of Flight will have a watch party for the landing starting at 3:30 p.m. A ticket is required, but admission is half price after 3 p.m. John Repp, KIRO News Radio.
Now we're going to look at your Earth traffic report. Here's Lori with KIRO News Radio real-time traffic.
In Marysville, southbound I-5, right at 88th, look out for an accident. It's partly blocking the roadway, and traffic looks a little heavy as you're just heading into downtown Seattle, both directions of I-5. Lake bridges look really good. Northbound I-5 at 48th. In Tacoma, look out for a collision in the right lane. SeaTac to Seattle, a 23-minute drive. Linwood to Bellevue, 17. Brief opening of the first South Bridge. Expect about a 5 to 10-minute delay. And northbound I-5 into Bellingham is closed, Sully tells us, through the 16th of April. I'm Lori, KIRO Real-Time Traffic.
Going to be a really nice day with 68 degrees, partially cloudy, rain likely tomorrow, showers in the morning, then cloudy in the afternoon with a high of 57 degrees. It is 58 degrees now in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio Northwest News.
Welcome back to the Jake and Spike Show. I'm Spike O'Neill. Mike Lewis sitting with us today. As we mentioned, as we all know, the first World Cup event in Seattle scheduled for June 15th. We'll have a story in just a moment about some unhappy fans of World Cup who ticket purchasers were saying they were misled by the World Cup, by FIFA, in the way tickets were distributed and sold and marketed and advertised to the ticket buyers. And what people are paying to see World Cup competition. It is mind-boggling.
As a person who's a soccer fan and was thrilled that Seattle got, I wasn't as thrilled. I'm happy we got a couple of U.S. men's team games, potentially 3.
And 6 in total, am I right?
And 6 in total. Okay. But I'm not, I may not even go now. I mean, the tickets are so ridiculously expensive. And that's the lineup of teams that are coming to Seattle are not, there's a couple of top-tier teams, but mostly, and of course the U.S. men's team, which is the big draw, it's not quite what some other cities are getting, and I'm a little disappointed in that. But the ticket prices, I mean, look, here's the situation. If you're going to have to deal with FIFA, you might as well just assume you're dealing with like an international semi-criminalized cartel. I mean, FIFA makes the IOC look like, the Boys and Girl Scouts. It is ridiculous how awful that organization is to deal with, and how much they've misled fans, and how they've created an engine for overcharging. This is supposed to be, remember, one of the great things about soccer is that it is people and a ball. You can play this at the most, and kids do, the most impoverished level people can put together a soccer. That's always been its draw, that it draws from all levels of economic strata.
Yes.
And the fact is that they've taken this thing, and it used to be that World Cup tickets should be a little bit more expensive. It's an amazing event. It's at its best, it's the upside of nationalism, right? But as its worst, it is this thing that is just this constant push toward corporate sponsorship and gouging. Remember, FIFA is an organization that fully endorsed the Qatar World Cup and its use of, and I'm not exaggerating in any way here, slave labor. Literally, they were bringing in Filipinos and Indonesians and confiscating passports, the construction. Right. So these people could not even leave. They had to work. This forced me. I boycotted I wouldn't show it in the bar. I'm not in. I mean, really? I love it's my favorite sporting event, but they've gone too far. And then this, at least in this case, in North America, that sort of stuff isn't happening, because one good thing about having it in North America is the entire battery of stadiums was available. Everything was here. And so it was absolutely good to go. They just needed to put in natural grass and things like that needed to happen. That's all fine. But then it comes with these ticket prices that all of the young fans, or the fans who aren't of some sort of like great financial means, are not going. I mean, all of the people who actually literally populate these teams, who literally are the people who are in the, playing sports, and someday may be one of these players if they're lucky to get like that, those people are screened out. And who's allowed in are people at the very highest income level alone.
No, it's not
appalling.
It is appalling, but a lot of sports find themselves in the exact same boat. The cost of going to a Kraken game, cost of going to a
baseball game is still comparatively much more reasonable.
Now, you're a soccer fan.
But I agree with you across the board.
Across all sports, yeah. And concerts are no better off.
Absolutely.
But and we'll stick on this while you dove into it. I'd forgotten all about the Dubai controversy. I was fully aware of it when it happened. And you're right, they would bring in workers. They would confiscate their passports. Then they would work them in inhumane conditions, quartered in inhumane conditions. People died of heat stroke, numerous deaths.
No, they were setting all kinds of records in actually like labor deaths. Yeah. I mean, it was so and remember, they're not building, potentially, let's just say, I don't know what you want to say.
They're not building power dams.
They're not building a dam. They're not building something that actually could have some sort of benefit to a greater
not building
population.
Low-income housing.
It's for our entertainment. If we killed this many people doing movies, would we stand for it? I mean, it was so completely unhinged. It was so completely wrong that it made me it's sickening to think about, and it made me like that was the first event that made me start pulling back from being a World Cup fan.
Really?
And this one, now this is better in sort of those regards.
Well, it's just gouging of
unilaterally
prices.
better. But still, like it's an organization that is just always been the former head, Sepp Blatter, now the guy in charge, who's just like him times 2. They're so deeply corrupt. The FIFA Peace Trophy was comically
it was
comically bad, embarrassing.
Yeah.
But even that didn't bother me as much as just the absolute top to bottom corruption. Anyone who has problems with the NFL, I get it. And I agree, the NFL and the concussion issue for many years, it's not even close to what FIFA is prepared to do to make sure its event goes off and like lines the pockets of everybody at the upper level of FIFA. It's crazy.
And with regard to the ticket,
and I'm still a big soccer fan, and I will watch some of these games probably, among friends at someone's, basement viewing room or in the bar.
It's a shame that the world's game. It truly is the world's game. Yeah. We were lucky enough over the course of my experience in radio. We got to travel with World Vision to various continents. We went to we've been up the Amazon River. We've been to Africa numerous times. We've been to Bangladesh, and you see abject poverty and people who live off the grid in remote places. But you bring a soccer ball and give it to the elder in the village.
Kids were playing soccer.
Oh, everywhere you went. Oftentimes they were playing with a ball they made out of disposable trash bags tied into a ball.
Totally. Exactly.
But it brought the entirety of the community together to play ball.
Right.
And those are the fans that are unable to see these games because of these pricing, these gouges.
Yeah.
Fans were given the chance to buy into a lottery to buy tickets and giving zoned areas of a stadium with which they could make a purchase. But now we're finding out that the zone maps that FIFA distributed were nothing
FIFA
like
bait and switch.
Yeah. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of standard bait and switch, I hope this is a segue that works. When you dine on the way to an event in Seattle, or just dine on the street, a street vendor. We're out of time already. Unbelievable. Let's do this when we get back. Let's go. This is an important story.
Yeah.
It's about unlicensed food vendors, and we've brought this story to you before, but it seems like the city is powerless to do anything to protect us from eating well at a cheap price, but maybe risking our lives to do so.
Right.
Is that fair to say?
Fair to say.
Cool. We'll have that when we come right back. It's Jake and Spike Show with Mike Lewis. We'll be right back.
Congratulations to KIRO Newsradio's Charlie Harger and digital content producer Patrick Janasek, nominated for a Northwest Emmy Award for investigative reporting.
It began with a question from the community. It seemed almost too stunning to be true.
KIRO Newsradio is honored to be the only radio station nominated for the prestigious Emmy Award as part of our commitment to impactful storytelling across every platform, reaching into the communities we serve. On KIRO Newsradio, 97.3 FM.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor. You visit urgent care over and over again. And it's always the same thing, right? Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and some nasal sprays. But they just keep coming back. You may suffer with chronic sinus infections. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure called the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic. Imagine a procedure so delicate there are no narcotics. Less cutting means less bleeding, so no packing, and no operating room. The Sinusoft procedure is designed for the clinic. If you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, and congestion, find out if the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic, is the solution for you. Call and set an appointment today. 206-388-2770. 206-388-2770. That's 206-388-2770.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
I'm here with Wes Jones of sellwithwes.com. And Wes, you were just telling me you think 2026 is going to be a rebound year for the housing market.
That's right. I think we're heading into the best real estate market of the past 4 years. And here's why. If you take a step back and look at the big picture, experts are anticipating a 15% increase in sales volume next year. Interest rates are at near 3-year lows and trending down, and home prices have held near all-time highs. There is a lot of pent-up demand. People have been sitting on the sidelines waiting for their time to jump into the market since 2022, and they need a place to buy.
So, hey, 2026 might be your year. If you're considering selling your home, if you're thinking about moving, but there was something that was just holding you back, now might be a great time. So do this. Go to sellwithwes.com. You can see your home's real value there with Wes's home value calculator. Then schedule an appointment by giving him a call. Sellwithwes.com. Sellwithwes.com. It really just is a better way to sell your home.
I'm Bradley Johnson with 1-800-DUI-AWAY, and I want to talk to you about baseball. It's game day. The stadium roof is open. Our club's putting up a fight. They're cold brews in hand. But outside, the police are getting ready to spot fans trying to steal their home base. Maybe the night threw you a curveball. An officer made an error. Or perhaps the bases weren't the only thing loaded. At 1-800-DUI-AWAY, we know it's not 3 strikes, it's 1 strike. And you're facing the Grand Slammer. 1-800-DUI-AWAY is here to help, even if we have to go into overtime. So call 1-800-DUI-AWAY or go to 1-800-DUI-AWAY.com to set up your free private consultation. When you're on defense, it's full count, bottom of the ninth. You want your closing pitcher on the mound. 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
1-800-DUI-AWAY.
Owie, wowie.
What's with the
water heater's worn out?
Way less hot water?
Takes a lot longer, too.
Sounds like a goner.
Worst of all,
what?
Wasn't planning on it.
We can help.
Apollo Plumbing.
Ready right now to get you
in hot water.
Same day.
Not this day. My budget.
How about with easy payments?
How much easy?
Around $50 a month with approved credit.
A new water heater?
50 gallons of 100% hot water delight.
For about $50 a month.
51, 52 to be precise.
And you can do it
today if that's what you need.
Is it ever?
Apollo installs new ones with code upgrades.
Can't beat that.
Actually, I can.
What?
Your same-day water heater replacement includes Wrenchie's worry-free warranty.
Which means?
Apollo Plumbing covers your new water heater for life.
You mean should it ever wear out?
Apollo Plumbing replaces it free.
And if it needs service?
Service is included for our A-list members.
Wow!
Your new water heater is ready
right now
at ApolloPlumbing.com.
Guys, your testosterone level impacts your energy, drive, weight, hair loss, and even ED. Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your T level for free. For your free T level check, exam, and consultation, call 206-529-1111 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
If you've lived in the Northwest for more than 5 minutes, you already know the Subaru Outback. It's the car I drive, and I bought it at Carter Subaru, Seattle's only Subaru dealership. Ursula Royteen here. Right now, the 2026 Subaru Outback comes with 3.9% APR financing. It's the perfect car for Pacific Northwest driving. Visit Carter Subaru in Ballard, Shoreline, or cartersubaru.com.
On approved credit, subject to vehicle insurance and availability, a documentary service fee may be added to the sale price or capitalized costs. See dealer for details. Valid through 4/30/26.
Welcome back, everybody. As we've been mentioning, there's a lot of fun things to do in Seattle summertime. World Cup not excluded. Mariner games, festivals, all these things. What you're going to find when you go out there is great food options. Oftentimes, these great food options are not as great as you think they might be. There are plenty of licensed food vendors in the city. We've got a great food truck community in Seattle. Restaurants, taverns, wherever it might be.
Yep.
There's great places to snack at the venues themselves. We talked yesterday about how the Mariners have put together one of the best game snack menus in all of baseball.
Right.
But what we're seeing more often are these pop-up vendors, oftentimes unlicensed pop-up vendors, and a city that says they are almost powerless to do anything about them. We've all seen these carts just outside of the stadiums themselves or along the roadways where you'll see the temporary tenting that's put up at a major intersection.
Oh, no, they're all over the place.
We're talking about a full-on kitchen. And they're not permitted. They don't have licensing. They don't have safety regulations. They don't have any safety compliance at all. And the food that they serve is a bargain, but it could be the most expensive meal you ever ate between hospital bills and maybe even permanent damage to your health.
Or just like a really bad case of diarrhea for a couple of days.
Ruin your weekend.
Exactly.
Or maybe worse. Now, the city says, city of Seattle particularly says, there's an issue between being able to enforce these laws, having the manpower between the health department and the city police department to enforce these restrictions on these pop-ups. So that most of these pop-ups show up after 5 o'clock before a major event. They'll just throw up their stand. And that's when the inspectors have gone home for the night. And if they do find someone who's operating without a license, the city's number one objective is to educate them, to tell them about the permitting process.
Right.
Well, I mean...
So let's unwind this a little bit, and I speak from a point of knowledge because I actually have a health permit in Seattle.
Yeah, you've actually done that the right way, and you've gone through.
We have to do it. Every restaurant in town has to do it. You have to go through inspections. If they find a violation, and violations can include the wrong pH balance in your bleach bucket, which is how you wipe down, literally as detailed as that. And so if you have one of those and you've gone through all the hoops and you've worked hard to get your excellent rating, you get very frustrated at these things, especially if you were in a place where they set up on the corner, outside of your place, because you don't have any control over the sidewalk, right? So they are not only not following the rules, they are actually taking business away from you. And sometimes what will happen, and this has happened, this is not, as far as I know, it's not happened to us. It probably has. Certainly it's happened to people I know in the business where customers will buy food from these places and carry it into your place, in which case that's a big no. You don't get the chance to
that is insult to injury. Absolutely.
Yeah, but I'm a little bit not a little bit. I'm pretty skeptical of the city's inability. The city has no inability to ding me on a health violation. Zero. The city will do it. And fortunately, we've been we've got especially the person who's in charge of the kitchen, very exacting in what we do. And we worry it every year to make sure we don't have any little slip up. But when they come in and do an inspection with us, they certainly have the capacity to make us put up the various faces on the door,
faces on the door,
all
sure.
of that stuff.
The ratings, the sign.
So to suggest that they're powerless is not true. I mean,
they're not saying the power. They say they don't have the resources. They say they don't have the manpower to go chase. But they
have to decide to develop the resources if they know. If they know, for example, that thousands of restaurants in Seattle are actually right now in compliance. I mean, you have to have that thing, or you get shut down. You have to have that the announcement for people when they walk in, they can see it. So if all of us ramp down on what you are focusing on us about, and I'm not saying ramp down permanently, ramp down for 6 months or whatever you need to do, and go after these folks. I mean, again, I'm sympathetic to anyone who wants to be the city made it very difficult. There's a reason that Portland had and many other cities had thriving food truck scene, and Seattle didn't until relatively recently, the last 10 years, is when Seattle changed its ordinances and allowed for more of this. Great. Well, and many of those food trucks are fully inspected. They have to go through a licensing process, a permitting process, all of that. You have to sometimes reallocate resources when police agencies do a sting, when building inspectors create an entire floor in the planning department to deal with Amazon's construction, which is what happened over the last 15 years. You have to calibrate to whatever your reality is. You can't just keep saying we're sticking to our reality and ignoring the one outside our doors. And that's essentially what's happening here. You start confiscating their gear. You start doing all kinds of things.
Well, that's what happens in Everett. In Seattle, right? What the first step is to educate people. The second time they offend somebody, they'll make them dump out their wares or confiscate their food.
Right.
They'll make them shut down and move on. But then they just move on down the block and pop up somewhere else. Or once the inspector leaves, they pop up on the same corner.
But here's the thing. You don't have to enforce everywhere in town. You enforce where they're actually making money. You put enforcement at the stadiums. You put enforcement at the events. And forget the rest of it. Watch when they can't make money because they're on a street corner where no one's enforcing anything because no one actually lives there or drives there. It becomes a lot easier. I mean, the idea of just like our hands are tied or we can't do this doesn't ring true to me who has been on. And I've got to say the health department, county health department, they've been great. I mean, I don't mind dealing with them at all. But I'm a little skeptical that this can't be better managed and you can't allocate resources to at least get this to stop, because it's not fair for those of us who are actually following the rules.
In February in Everett, they changed the law. Now they will confiscate you. They will arrest the employees. They will confiscate the gear. Now the problem is fixed.
I'm not sure I need anyone arrested. Confiscating the gear would be less than enough.
There you go. All right, when we come back, we'll talk about the inflation numbers that are out today and how it's affecting you right here at home. It's the Jake and Spike Show. Don't go anywhere.
The John Curley Show.
If by like the 15th of October rolls around and suddenly there's a bolt of lightning and I croak out right there, I'm fine.
Weekdays 3 to 7.
My dream of growing a giant pumpkin is just a couple of months away. I know somebody who knows somebody who knows a guy who knows a guy who knows someone who got me the seed, the 1,500-pounder, baby. It's in a secret location. I don't want to say where it is.
Watch The John Curley Show live on YouTube.
Insulation rebates from PSE are at historic highs. American Crawl Space and Pest Services gave over $3 million in PSE insulation rebates last year, more than any contractor in Washington. Homeowners, business owners, and PSE trust American Crawl Space and Pest Services. Was your home built before 1990? Visit AmericanCrawl.com to see how much you can save on replacing your insulation.
American Crawl, the heroes you call.
At Madrona Financial and CPAs, we believe there are 7 steps that must be taken in preparation for a successful retirement. Retirement needs more than just a basic income plan. Hi, Jeff here with Madrona Financial and CPAs. Don't settle for a partial plan. Get the real deal by requesting your no-cost Madrona analysis today and discover what you may be missing. Call 833-673-7373 right now to request your analysis. That's 833-673-7373.
The stock market was on fire in 2025 due to AI and tech stocks. Now is the time to set a strategy for 2026. It's a good opportunity to lock in those gains and invest into a stable platform. With $8 trillion in cash sitting on the sidelines, investors are either scared or unsure where to go. Hi, I'm Scott Rurecka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Legacy Group Capital develops local real estate, lends money, and shares the profits with our investors. Diversify with Legacy Group Capital. Invest into our Northwest Fund, which is currently delivering 9% on a fixed rate term. It's our flagship fund for 19 years with 0 investor losses. And yes, we do accept IRAs. Find out why 1,300 local investors have invested over $350 million.
Legacy Group Capital at legacyg.com. This is not investment advice. Investments available to accredited investors only. Details at legacyg.com.
I'm waiting for mortgage rates to come down. You know, I hear that every week, and even though rates are a little higher than I'd like, VA loan rates have come down low enough that some people are saving hundreds of dollars per month simply by consolidating their bills into one VA cash-out refinance. Hi, I'm Steve Teitler, owner of Best Mortgage, a local family-owned company, the VA loan experts for 34 years. We love helping our veterans save money. One of our VA clients saved more than $1,200 per month. We can also help you buy a home with no money down. The VA loan program is a fantastic deal that you have earned. Give us a call, and we'll discuss your VA loan options with honest advice you can trust. And we do conventional loans, too. Search the web for Best Mortgage or call 425-649-6000. You'll talk to a real person, never an AI robot. Best Mortgage, 425-649-6000.
Nick, you know what's a great thing about going to Longevity Medical Clinic as a couple?
Oh, I absolutely do. When they tell you to do something, you actually do it.
Right. And the same thing with you. When they tell you to do it, because for some reason, when I tell you to do it, you're like, whoa.
I just walk away and roll my eyes.
Exactly. But the great thing about Longevity Medical Clinic, the doctors there know, because we do the blood draw and they look and they can see, they know, they hold us accountable.
Yeah, when I'm under pressure and I know I'm coming in, I know I have to work the program.
Right. Plus, we also want to hold each other accountable for how we take care of ourselves because, we want to have a long, healthy, happy life.
I know. I want every day to torture you as long as I possibly can.
Well, I look forward to it. Here's the great thing about Longevity Medical Clinic. They're working with you. They're holding you accountable because they want you to have a long, healthy, happy life. I was a patient at Longevity long before I started doing these commercials. So get your free health analysis. Go to lmclinic.com. That's lmclinic.com.
File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. TurboTax helps you get your biggest refund, and then Credit Karma helps you do more with it. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
KIRO FM and HD1 Tacoma, Seattle. This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. With his vice president taking part in negotiations with Iran and Pakistan this weekend, President Trump says Iran's only negotiating point is the Strait of Hormuz. CBS's Elizabeth Palmer in Tel Aviv reports.
The Iranian high card is the Straits of Hormuz and the fact that at the moment they're controlling and in fact have stopped traffic almost entirely in the Straits of Hormuz. We've seen this morning new inflation figures in the United States that reflect the fact that there is just a real shortage of energy in world markets. And so that is a vulnerability for the Americans.
Inflation accelerated in the month of March as the war with Iran pushed up energy prices. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger has more.
Gas prices were up 21% in March, up 19% from a year ago, and fuel oil was up almost 31%. That's 44% higher than it was a year ago.
The journey that has taken the Artemis 2 astronauts beyond the far side of the moon ends tonight, and the crew, some 40,000 miles away, has been spotted taking last-minute pictures of Earth. One of the most dangerous parts of the mission is re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere and splashdown in the Pacific Ocean. CBS's Gwen Baumgardner is in San Diego.
Excitement is building for the big return.
My heart skips a beat when I think of how brave they are.
I like the fact that the 4 astronauts were a togetherness thing. One from Canada, one black, one woman, another white guy, and I just thought that was fantastic. That's what I think our country is all about.
The astronauts also sent in a wish list for their arrival.
The biggest request that they had was uncrusted sandwiches.
Splashdown is scheduled for about 8 p.m. Eastern. President Trump on social media blamed the Biden administration for allowing a Haitian migrant to remain in the U.S. Robert Joaquin is charged with the murder of a Bangladeshi national woman working at a convenience store in Fort Myers, Florida. Kelly Walker is acting director of the ICE office in Miami.
There's surveillance footage, which is circulating widely on social media, shows Robert Joaquin, a Haitian illegal alien, brutally striking the victim multiple times in the head with a hammer.
The state of Florida may seek to prevent Joaquin's immediate removal from the U.S. in order to face state murder charges. Police and OpenAI officials say a 20-year-old man suspected of throwing a Molotov cocktail at CEO Sam Altman's San Francisco home and threatening to burn down OpenAI headquarters has been arrested. Authorities say the device set an exterior gate of the home on fire. No one was hurt. Stocks have closed mixed on Wall Street. This is CBS News.
Join Adriana Diaz and Kelly O'Grady for the perfect start to your weekend. Ease into your Saturday with CBS Saturday Morning on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus.
We have breaking Mariners news coming up in just a moment, but first we're going to go to Lori, who has your KIRO News Radio real-time traffic.
And traffic is brought to you by the KIRO Newsradio app. 405 northbound right at 527. A collision in the toll lane cleared, so you're still backed up approaching the scene, making your drive Bellevue to Everett about 4 minutes longer. But now a new collision, same area, southbound 405 at 195th and it's a 13-minute delay now if you're heading from Linwood to Bellevue. Traffic looks a little heavy both directions of I-5 past 520 in Seattle, but the Lake Bridge is looking really great. A collision just cleared northbound I-5 at 48th in Tacoma, still a little slow as you approach the scene. And Federal Way to Tacoma, just a 9-minute drive. Text app to 888-973-5476 to download the KIRO News Radio app. Listen to your favorite shows and get the latest news and updates sent straight to your phone. I'm Lori, KIRO Real-Time Traffic.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Jillian Raftery. Maybe it's the break the Mariners need. Ichiro's statue unveiling today. His bat snapped as the tarp came down. Mariners broadcaster Rick Riz was the MC of the ceremony, making light of the situation.
There's a fastball inside, and he still got a base hit.
He laughed it off, and so did Ichiro, and the bat itself received a quick temporary fix. The first 40,000 fans at tonight's game against the Astros get a replica statue, but that statue will not have the broken bat on it. Seattle police need your help finding an extremely violent, dangerous robbery suspect who left 2 store clerks seriously injured. It happened in late March at the Safeway Mart in Occidental Square in Pioneer Square. Police say a man in his 30s stole a bottle of wine, then used it as a weapon against the clerks.
He is considered assaultive and dangerous. So if anybody sees him, we ask them to use caution, call 911 immediately.
Take a look at the pictures on mynorthwest.com. Police want you to focus on his head covering, his shirt, and his shoes. Crews have been working around the clock to clear a landslide that shut down northbound I-5 last month near Bellingham. They say they're going to be ready to reopen the road next week. Crews not only had to remove boulders and trees, they had to drill into the rock slope to stabilize it in order to prevent more slides. A brand new apartment building in Seattle's Ballard neighborhood is giving residents more than just a home.
For the first time since originally moving out of my mom's house when I was like 17, I do feel like I'm finally in a secure place.
Thomas Penix lives at St. Luke's with his partner and baby. That partnership to build St. Luke's was launched by getting some donated land and millions donated by a healthcare company, the city of Seattle, and the state. It serves residents who make 50 to 60% of median area income. And we're just hours away from the Artemis crew splashing down as the capsule re-enters Earth. You can watch it with others at a watch party at the Museum of Flight or the NASA broadcast online. Landing's expected by 5:07. All right, we're going to check your forecast now. High clouds, 68 degrees, a nice day before rain tomorrow. It's 58 in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
And now, it's time for the Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio with your hosts, Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
Welcome back to Hour 2 of the Jake and Spike Show. I'm Spike O'Neill with Mike Lewis today. Mike, we're watching the TV with live coverage of the just over 4 hours, about 4 hours to the minute, of splashdown of Artemis 2. And we were talking about off air. You and I are of the same, I guess, era that space exploration when we were kids ignited the imagination of not just America, but the world.
Yeah, when actual science exceeded what movies could do. I think that
That's great.
I think that CG and advanced special effects and actually, good writing and all of that has sort of made just this like random, trip to the moon probably a little less impressive to people, even though it's still a very impressive thing. I got to also say, as much as I am a fan of the space program, I'm really looking forward. I am probably going to watch, if I'm available, I'll watch them. I'm going to watch the splashdown. It does feel like, we did that 50 years ago.
Yeah, 60. When you're talking about the early Apollo missions,
right?
And recovery in the Caribbean.
And, and so with computers that were less powerful than a cheap smartwatch, right? And so
you hold more power in the hand.
And so while I'm happy and I like the fact that it advances science. I mean, I'm actually a big fan of the space program. I think it should be funded, although now, weirdly enough, we're doing this while NASA's facing these deep cuts.
Massive cuts, yeah.
It still feels to me like okay, all right, so we redid something we did a long time ago with lesser technology. Great. Where does it go from here? I mean, and I know that there's this race now because other countries have developed pretty advanced space programs also.
Yeah, I think India's orbiting the moon as we speak, right? China
particularly,
Russia, of course.
Japan. I mean, like there are a lot of places that are everyone's trying to lay claim, and it feels to me like what we're getting more of. The more likely outcome is the technology push is going to be to establish some ownership of something that we had at one point considered didn't have an owner. And I think that the world is getting a lot more like that. And I think that is sort of the unfortunate. What's driving it now is not simply the pursuit of science or the pursuit of sort of technological primacy. You know, like the space program was also this major recruitment tool for scientists and engineers to move to the United States. And we've been sort of aggressively anti-immigrant for a while now. And so that's not as likely to happen. But that whole thing, the amount of money that the defense through DARPA that the defense industry poured into creating both the internet and Silicon Valley, like that was all part of that. That whole wave of pushing the boundaries of technology was part of what the space program was all about. And now it feels like something entirely different. Like that. Like this is about the conversations about the moon. Focus on the minerals that are available and all of the stuff that's going to be able to turn the moon into a giant mine
or a space station that we can use territorially to launch further exploration.
And I understand that this stuff has to be paid for, and I'm not necessarily above that. And I do use paper and materials and things that are mined. I understand my own role in
necessary
all this.
of civilization, sure.
But it feels to me like the fuel of this particular mission, if you will, is something different than it used to be. And it doesn't feel like, I'm not sure what science is advancing here. And I understand, all the people say we spent all this money to get Tang, right? I get it.
That alone is worth the investment.
I get it. Like I understand that. And I think that I agree with that. But that really wasn't all we got. We got an incredible number of things.
Oh, so many things. MRIs, X-rays.
And I'd be curious to see that if we're not just better at doing that with just improvements in existing technology. I mean, as you pointed out when we were off air, we're still landing in the ocean.
I was amazed at that. Of all this advancement, we're still splashdown is still the most effective and safest way.
Parachutes, and a floatable capsule. I mean, after all of this time, and admittedly, we did have the space shuttle in between all of this.
Yeah, we've done some
program that we've now since canceled. And so I'm excited about it.
Hoping the heat shield works.
I've spent a lifetime rooting for the space program. I was so devoted to it as a kid that I literally read everything in the county library because you had to read things not only about the space program, but you also, if you wanted to get into the space program, and that was obviously going to be my destiny, I read everything about becoming, because essentially back then, if you were going to be an astronaut, there was no other pathway. There wasn't a pathway through science or other sort of things. It was through flight school, and it was through essentially getting into Miramar, getting into one of the Top Gun
Air Force
programs. Yeah. I mean, that's how, because they wanted the best of the best, even though, as John Glenn and others have said, we're essentially cargo. They don't need pilots for this. But the point is that was a pathway. And so I was just incredibly focused on that until the day that I read that you have to actually have to have perfect vision to become a pilot, an Air Force pilot. Back then, I don't know if that's still true. You can't have corrected vision. And I got my first pair of glasses when I was 5 years old.
Are you serious? That torpedoed your entire dream.
I went into like a little kid depression I stopped reading for 2 weeks because I just was so unhappy that this was not my future. I mean, anyone who would blame any level of journalism I did since then, that goes back to the Air Force. Blame the Air Force. Do not blame me for their perfect eyes rule, whatever it was.
Oh, it's funny.
But I was my point being, I was obsessed with space, and I'm a big fan of this. So I don't mean to be sort of person the big rain cloud over the Artemis saying I'm excited about it. But I got to say, something about it feels very different. Already been there, and I kind of wish we were doing something new. And maybe this is what we had to redo this to develop more modern technology so we can actually use that as a springboard to Mars.
The next great discovery, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
We had planned other topics for this break, and we'll get to them. It's the economy, by the way, and it sucks, by the way. But you said something right out of the gate there that really caught my attention. it was my hope through this, not just advancement through technology, but to rekindle the explorer spirit of another generation. Yeah. Do you think that's possible? And I know I'm asking you to think, philosophically and metaphorically, but and you cited the ability to create fantasy far beyond what technology can deliver. Right. For us, when we were kids, watching a space landing on TV that's the height of science fiction for us. Nowadays, it's blah. It's blasé to kids. Can we inspire a generation to be explorers?
I guess I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. Weirdly enough, what's also happened is there are so many companies now launching satellites, and you can buy off-the-shelf stuff to make a rocket that can put a satellite in orbit. Now, I'm not saying this is necessarily safe, and I'm not encouraging anyone out there to go do this. But essentially, these satellite companies that are now launching telecommunication satellites, are doing it from components they're buying from around the globe.
Yeah,
that sort of, I don't know how, that sort of like fact that it's gotten into something where you can have individuals doing it. Maybe that's the good thing. Maybe that's where the creativity is going to happen. People who can do this sort of stuff on the cheap. With their own company, and
individually,
maybe
not as a culture.
Totally, and they can sort of always use sort of what's developed, because government can pour more money into this thing than private companies can. Maybe that's the end of this. That is actually more encouraging. I don't know enough about it to say. So I'm hoping that we can, but it doesn't feel to me like that is the sentiment now. It seems like there is the space race now is not about, like I said, technological advancement, technological primacy. It's about getting to the treasure chest first, and that to me is not necessarily like a terrible thing. Certainly, that was what led to. Well, I don't know. Maybe it is a terrible thing, but I just don't know that it is as interesting to me or as compelling or scratches that itch in the way that it did when I was young. And maybe just because I'm just older and higher mileage now, and you
got a layer of cynicism wrapping your big
or at least skepticism.
Least, yeah. So let me if I want to stick on this, I hope you don't mind.
Yeah.
The partnership between private industry and the federal government for space exploration, which is we've reached unparalleled or unprecedented levels of that. I think that's a great thing.
I think it's mostly a great thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having that, let's have them foot the bill on a SpaceX or Blue Origin or whomever it may be. That's funding this technology for business purposes that we can then use with federal support to maybe make this advancement for us.
Yeah, I mean, like I think that for as much as I'm not much of a fan of Elon Musk, the guy. I mean, look at what he's done compared to Blue Origin. There's not really a comparison, and I assume Blue Origin's still out there, and they're local. So I am rooting hard for them. But really, I mean, it's not been much of a competition at this point. So if that leads to a better competition, I'd be happy. And I like the fact that there are private companies, piggybacking on some of what the research and the work that the government has already done, as much as we are defunding that. But I would say that these companies then building some sort of national space program on companies that are still on, essentially beholden to the stock market has its set of risks. And does not give it that sort of continuity. I mean, NASA didn't need to make money in the 1960s to develop all of this stuff.
Right.
NASA didn't have to issue a shareholder letter every year to say why they're spending, money. I mean, that's the upside.
They should have successful missions. That's what they had. Because your point earlier, if this goes sideways at the 11th hour, it's going to do a lot to set back the space program.
Yeah, I mean, but I do think that having private investment is probably a good thing at this point. I mean, like I just said about the satellite companies. I mean, I think that it is a good thing, but I think that it's very good to sort of watch all of this with a little bit of skepticism as it plays out.
So the economic numbers came out this morning, and the news is that inflation is up to 3.3%. Largest spike in 2.2% since last month, an increase in inflation, 3.3% over year to year. This is an economy that's going to be difficult for this administration to survive politically, I think.
Well, certainly by the midterms, right? I mean,
exactly.
There's not a whole lot is going to change between now and then. And
with regard, and a lot of this is tied to the conflict because these inflation numbers are tied mostly to fuel costs.
Yeah, to bring it back to soccer, this would be called an own goal.
Yes.
This is one of those things that didn't need to happen. Now is happening, and now it's spiraling away from a conflict standpoint to an economic standpoint to a human life standpoint in ways that it felt like a rash decision when it happened, and it only felt like that because it was. And then now all of the ancillary economic issues and consumer confidence.
Worst numbers, and historically worst numbers ever.
Yeah, and so if you don't know, the way they calculate that is a survey done. It's 5 questions. It is done to not a whole bunch of people, like 5,000 people in the United States. It's done every single month. And essentially it's a series of questions on, do you feel good? Are you positive or negative and about these sort of current standards from gas prices, blah, blah, blah. And then the consumers respond to these questions. And then they decide on that as a sort of a sampling. So it's a relatively small sample size given how many people are in the country. So you can bank some on this. But they've done it. It's the nice thing about it is from a survey standpoint is it's been a consistent set of questions for a very long period of time. So you can sort of gauge how people are feeling about the economy. And they're feeling lousy about it. I mean, like lousier than they have in a very, very, very long time.
And it's not about just feelings. It's about their decision to make purchases.
Totally, and how they're saving money and whether or not they're willing to invest in a new car or things like that. I mean,
take
people
a trip
start ratcheting all that stuff back, and suddenly those tiny little, that feels like a little decision in your household replicated over, 50 million Americans becomes an economic problem, right? And so it's not good right now. I mean, hopefully, but that is also consumer confidence can change. And if things start improving, you can see it swing the other way relatively quickly. So, I mean, this is why you have some of the responses. Indiana is doing this sort of short-term solution of...
Indiana has suspended their gas tax for a 30-day period to provide a short-term economic relief to the citizenry.
Which I actually don't think is... I mean, I understand what the gas taxes go for. I don't know what they go for in Indiana. I do know what they go for in Washington State. And, of course, everyone's wondering what Governor Ferguson is going to do about this. He hasn't said.
He's been asked directly numerous times, and it says we have no intention of suspending either the CCA or the state gas tax.
And I don't know how I imagine it'd be somewhat popular in Washington State, certainly among the people who are doing transportation-related jobs. That would be very popular among them. But there's also the strong sentiment about what gas taxes pay for in Washington State that maybe would make it less popular among a larger group of people. I don't know. I mean, I imagine that they're probably polling it pretty hard, and they're going to figure out if it does pivot to that point where it's really damaging to certain companies and certain lifestyles, then maybe they will suspend it. I can see why Indiana would do this. It's obvious. It's a populist move, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And in Indiana, it probably makes very good politics. I don't know how well it would do here. I'd certainly like to pay less for gas, but I'm luckier than most. I mean, like, my sphere of where I have to go is relatively narrow. I live in town. Yeah. I've got a business within a very few miles of where I pick up supplies in another very few miles. Like, my life isn't around, but there's a lot of people out there who are really, really they're starting to feel the pinch pretty hard. If you drive delivery for any big company, if you are moving stuff around, any form of transportation, including air.
You got an hour commute each way every day?
Yeah, it's rough.
So there are some who think that even if the governor does decide to temporarily pause a gas tax in the state, consumers wouldn't even feel any relief because that would be absorbed by the larger consumers of gasoline, which are the delivery companies and the trucking companies and the various people that use it.
Potentially, yeah.
And you wouldn't see that savings passed down to the consumers. It wouldn't have enough of an impact to make the benefits gained from a gas tax worth giving up, even for a short period of time.
And one of the weird things is that we are a net exporter of oil, right? The United States, which a lot of people don't realize. And it's a different, we produce a very fine grade of oil. And we sell it and make money on the margin. We buy lesser crude that our refineries are well adapted to process into gasoline. But it just feels to me like, unless that margin is still there, and I guess that margin must be, why you would do that sort of arbitrage if there is an actual shortage in the United States, or maybe there's not an actual shortage. And I don't know. I've never seen the oil companies lose money in this sort of environment. It seems like there's a little more the government might be able to do rather than having individual states bear essentially the loss of tax revenue
right.
to fund this, that maybe there's something at the federal level that might happen other than engaging in conflict that raises the price.
We started this conversation, how does this Republican Party or this congressional delegation, how do they survive this economic situation? That makes this weekend where are they meeting? In Islamabad, right?
Yeah.
Whatever happens this weekend is going to have a huge bearing on the future of this political climate in the country itself. I mean, because if they don't get some kind of relief at us, and by all accounts, the latest accounts are, these guys are much further apart to reach some kind of permanent or long-term agreement than we were led to believe a couple days ago.
Well, also, and this becomes, I don't know that it is necessarily, I don't know that this is necessarily a given, but if the Iranians are looking at all of these indications of how people being unhappy with the White House, with the administration, based on it, for no other reason, just how expensive things are. I mean, there should be a lot of reasons, but let's just say that those are two. That's also an incentive for them to keep the pressure high, right? Anything that could make the administration blink. It's not going to be militarily. It's going to be economically. That's the only way that you have leverage is economic. And so if you give that away, if you're Iran, then what is your leverage at that point? Nothing.
And not to mention the fact that the Iranians were abiding by all accounts, abiding by an agreement that this administration, or at least the previous iteration of the administration, ripped up and threw in their face.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough weekend for the vice president.
Yeah. I agree.
When we come back, we'll turn our attention to home and to a wonderful story about a man who spent a lifetime of service, who's getting to actually retire from an incredible career. We'll tell you all about it next. Don't go anywhere.
This hour is brought to you by Insulation Northwest.
Congratulations to KIRO News Radio's Charlie Harger and digital content producer Patrick Janasek, nominated for a Northwest Emmy Award for investigative reporting.
It began with a question from the community that seemed almost too stunning to be true.
KIRO News Radio is honored to be the only radio station nominated for the prestigious Emmy Award as part of our commitment to impactful storytelling across every platform, reaching into the communities we serve on KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
Retirement is supposed to be a time of rest and relaxation. But every week I get calls from seniors who are stressed out because their cost of living keeps going up. They love their home and they want to stay in it, but they're struggling with rising property taxes, monthly bills, and monthly mortgage payments if they have one. Hi, I'm Steve Teitler, owner of Best Mortgage, a local family-owned company. I specialize in the reverse mortgage, which allows seniors to tap into your home equity for tax-free cash to pay off your mortgage, pay off debts, and maybe put some extra money in the bank. A reverse mortgage is a great option for some people, but it's not right for everyone. So give me a call and you'll talk directly to me in person or over the phone for honest advice you can trust. Search for Best Mortgage on the web or call us at 425-649-6000. You'll talk to me, not an AI robot. Best Mortgage, 425-649-6000.
I'm Bradley Johnson with 1-800-DUI-AWAY, and I want to talk to you about baseball. It's game day. The stadium roof is open. Our club's putting up a fight. They're cold brews in hand. But outside, the police are getting ready to spot fans trying to steal their home base. Maybe the night threw you a curveball. An officer made an error. Or perhaps the bases weren't the only thing loaded. At 1-800-DUI-AWAY, we know it's not 3 strikes, it's 1 strike. And you're facing the Grand Slammer. 1-800-DUI-AWAY is here to help, even if we have to go into overtime. So call 1-800-DUI-AWAY or go to 1-800-DUI-AWAY.com to set up your free private consultation. When you're on defense, it's full count, bottom of the 9th. You want your closing pitcher on the mound. 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
1-800-DUI-AWAY. Rick was experiencing some pain in his knee.
Once I retired and
really just golfed constantly, I think it kind of exacerbated.
It was getting to be too much for him.
It got to the point where I just almost couldn't sleep. I wanted to try anything to avoid surgery.
So instead, he decided to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
I talked to him and he said, well, Rick, it's a new knee or we do the stem cell.
Since the procedure, Rick is back doing what he loves to do.
Here I am, golfing and enjoying it.
And now it's not just his knee. Rick has had stem cell treatment for both of his shoulders, his hip, and...
He did my thumbs.
So whether it's a hip like I had or a shoulder, knee, and thumb like Rick, before choosing surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first. He's the most experienced in the Northwest with over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Go to drmarkwagnermd.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. You know, the big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55, but unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
DQ presents the Blizzard Double Flip Deal. For a limited time, when you buy one Blizzard treat, you get a second for just 99 cents. That's 2 Blizzards, 2 spoons, 2 flavors, and 2 flips. So don't miss out on the Blizzard Double Flip Deal, available only for a limited time and happening now at DQ. Because the only thing better than a Blizzard treat is a second Blizzard treat for just 99 cents. It's a deal to flip for. The Blizzard Double Flip Deal. Get it in the app. Participation may vary.
Hey, I want to tell you a sellwithwes.com success story. Wes Jones knows how important your home sale can be for your future plans. So when he got a call from Susan in Federal Way, he was eager to step up and help her sell her home of 25 years.
Her house was her biggest asset, and this home sale was super meaningful for her. So she's like, I know that I'm leaving money on the table in the condition that it's in. Like, what can we do?
I told him up front that I did not have the time or finances to do what needed to be done. And he immediately jumped in with, well, I do.
He told her about their Listing Boost concierge service.
We identified probably 4 or 5 major things.
It just was all so fast. They did everything.
I'm a son of a builder, and I've done a lot of flips over the years. So this is work that we actually like to do. We are seeking this out.
And I would just tell anybody, here's his phone number, give him a call. He'll take care of it.
So if you're in the market to sell your home, do what Susan did. Check out Wes Jones and his team at sellwithwes.com. Sell with Wes, a better way to sell your home.
Guys, your testosterone level impacts your energy, drive, weight, hair loss, and even ED. Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your T level for free. For your free T level check, exam, and consultation, call 206-529-1111 or visit revivemenshealth.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. U.S. and Iranian negotiators are set to meet tomorrow in Pakistan for truce talks amid that 2-week ceasefire. Vice President J.D. Vance is attending the negotiations.
As the President of the United States said, if the Iranians are willing to negotiate in good faith, we're certainly willing to extend the open hand. If they're going to try to play us, then they're going to find that the negotiating team is not that receptive.
CBS's Elizabeth Palmer reports an Iranian negotiator has made some new demands.
He wants to have Israel declared that it won't attack Hezbollah in Lebanon anymore. In other words, the ceasefire extends there.
Israel and Hezbollah continued firing at each other today. The Artemis 2 mission will come to an end in just a few hours with splashdown in the Pacific off the coast of San Diego. KIRO News Radio's John Repp has a closer look.
A crowd cheered the liftoff at the Museum of Flight April 1st, and now, as Artemis 2 astronauts prepare to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere, all eyes will be on the Orion capsule's heat shield. Ted Hutter with the Museum of Flight says it's designed to absorb temperatures approaching 5,000 degrees.
That heat shield has to work perfectly. There's really no option for that. You know, it has to work.
Hutter says the Museum of Flight will have a watch party for the landing starting at 3:30 p.m. A ticket is required, but admission is half price after 3 p.m. John Repp, KIRO News Radio.
Out of the closing bell reports, if that ceasefire in the Middle East continues to hold, gas prices could go down, but not anytime soon, as we hear from CBS business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
Unfortunately for consumers, if the ceasefire holds, prices at the pump, they're not expected to start falling for another 2 or 3 weeks. As the old saying goes, prices at the pump go up on the elevator and come down by the stairs.
Sharpest monthly rise in gas prices in 60 years caused inflation to rise 3.3% in March compared to last year. Gas prices did hold steady overnight across Washington at an average of $5.40 a gallon. Much more pricey here in the Seattle area, looking at an average of $5.63 for a gallon of regular. Now to the real-time traffic desk. We check in with Lori.
And traffic is brought to you by Seattle Sports. 2 accidents now, both in Bothell at 405, one at 527, one at 195th. So you're pretty slow through Bothell, making your drive from Linwood to Bellevue 34 minutes longer, but Bellevue to Everett just a 4-minute slowdown. I-5 northbound at 48, that collision cleared, but we're really still slow approaching 48th. Lakewood to Tacoma, you're going to see a 6-minute slowdown. And northbound I-5 into Bellingham still closed through the 16th of April. You can always listen to your favorite local sports content on the FM dial on 97.3 HD2. I'm Lori, KIRO Real-Time Traffic.
And now to your forecast. Looking at some cloudy skies today, but staying on the warmer side. Highs topping out in the upper 60s. Right now, 61 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Welcome back to the Jake and Spike Show. I'm Spike O'Neill with Mike Lewis. And I want to offer a correction here. When we went to break there, I talked about the retirement of Seattle's longest-serving EMS, and this man is not retiring. Having looked into the story, I apologize, thinking that a guy with 45 years of service for King County Medic 1 was going to be able to, dim the sirens and just drive off into the sunset. But we're talking about Jim Sandlin, 45 years serving King County as an EMT of King County Medical 1. That's an incredible run, and it's not looking like he's going to retire anytime soon.
Yeah, incredible run in a. Well, I mean, I'm guessing it's a high-stress job. I mean, I would imagine once you put, quite a few years in, that you are probably pretty calm in the moment. I mean, I don't know that there's anything that he hasn't seen.
Doesn't get rattled anymore.
At this particular point. And who is the lucky trainee or newbie who gets to work with someone like that? I mean, that would be, a privilege to work with somebody who can teach you virtually everything about the job.
He learned his skills at UW Medicine, Harborview Medical Center. He's been on over 19,000 calls, 19,115 calls. Excuse me. All of Medic 1. My brain is just, I'm so tied up in Ichiro's bat. King County Medic 1 responded to 19,000 calls last year alone.
Right.
Okay, thank you very much. I wonder how many calls this guy's physically been on in 45 years of service.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
You're right. And does he see anything? Has he seen everything? Have you seen, at that point, 45 years showing up to what it's got? I mean, it's got to be a stressful job. I imagine it must you become conditioned to it and acclimated to the stresses and strains and dangers of this occupation. But I can't imagine it ever gets boring or it ever gets old.
No, but I would imagine, though, there are probably times where you've shown up multiple times to a location, and you probably get,
I hadn't thought about that.
You probably get a little frustrated, maybe, if something is going on there that you shouldn't have to be showing up this often. I would imagine you see things that are not encouraging about the future of some locations, and those sort of things would be, I mean, you'd have to learn, you'd have to have one of those things like they say about relief pitchers in baseball. You'd better have a short memory because you wouldn't want to carry around all of that. On the other hand, you get the upside of saving lives. Like, there are probably people who still stay in touch because this person showed up. They're still around on the planet to talk about it, right?
We've got one of his coworkers, Steve Weaver, who spoke about what it's like to work with Jim.
It's unlucky that you got sick, but you might end up being the luckiest person in the world that day, because if he shows up, he's going to do the right stuff for you. He's going to treat you right.
And this is from Como News. They asked Jim Sandlin himself, of all the calls they responded to, how often he finds out what happened after patients had leave his care.
I personally follow up on all of those.
All of them?
Pretty much all, because what I look at is, was I thinking correctly? Was my clinical acumen on the money? Were there things I need to learn from?
Incredible experiences.
Yeah, no kidding.
What 45 years of service and counting.
Well, and humble too.
Yeah.
Still even after 45 years, he's like, well, what can I still learn?
Right. I mean, so anyone who's still worried about double checking their work after that much time, I'm a fan.
And he's literally passionately committed about it. He follows up with every single patient he's ever have. There is an incredible shortage nationwide of emergency service, emergency medical services, and EMTs, and there's struggles with finding funding for these. There have been cuts from the federal level through FEMA and through other various federal budgetary cuts. They've cut training money. They've cut recruitment money. They've cut program expansions in rural communities.
Well, and also the consolidation of most healthcare companies, from ambulance companies to, how many ambulance companies are there in the United States anymore? there's been this rapid consolidation. And so when they do that, and if these are publicly traded companies, and sometimes even when they're not, they vary the amount of people they employ. They don't employ people as long for as good of money. And there's obviously a shortage. There's a shortage of nurses as well. Because so much of medical care has been pushed down to cheaper employees from doctors. And I don't mind that. I don't mind. I've had a physician's assistant for many years. And
yeah,
great. It's been a great experience.
They're adequate. They're trained. They're competent.
I have family who are nurses, so I am not. That's in no way saying that is a bad thing. But it's clearly the healthcare industry is one of the few areas where you can guarantee you're going to get hired immediately if you're a nurse. The paramedics thing is interesting because sometimes these are folks who are paid for and employed by county agencies, and sometimes they are the private ambulance companies,
right?
That are the Medic One, whatnot, all over the country. And I don't know what it is like work. Text in,
that's great.
And let us know, 888-973-5476, because I have no idea if that is a good paying job or the way it used to be. With the benefits and the other things you would expect from being a professional, certainly a professional in a high-stress job like that. I don't know. But I do know that those companies sometimes don't have a stellar reputation for paying top rates and for retaining employees.
We had a story about a month ago that you talked about being privatized and companies contracting their emergency response services to various private contracting companies. We had a story about a month ago about 911 calls that had almost a triage type level of communication where, we had a woman that was on a particular case. A woman had called in and she needed an ambulance, and she called back in 45 minutes, and they didn't. There was no ability to assess a second call.
Right.
And it was almost 10 hours before this woman had called for an ambulance, experienced, I believe, chest pains.
Right.
Called back 45 minutes later and didn't get put back to the queue.
Right.
When was told it would be 10 to 15 minutes before someone could respond to her. 10 hours later, when an ambulance responded and then knocked on the door and couldn't get a response, that was their closing of the case. Couldn't get a response from the person who called for an ambulance.
Right.
You would think that not being able to raise the person calling for an ambulance would indicate an emergency situation.
Right.
There's a lawsuit going on because of that one.
Yeah, understandably.
There is, and I understand that healthcare is a business, and the county has to operate when they deal with private contractors in a fiduciarily responsible way and make sure they get the most of your dollars. But it's still our money that's being spent, our tax dollars being spent to provide the care that we are paying for.
Right.
And patients seem to be the ones that get the short shift. So when you get a story of a guy like Jim, who spent 45 years caring about the citizens of this community, it's just what a feather in the cap of the community to have somebody like this.
Completely.
Did you ever? I can't imagine. Well, I hate to say that about myself, but it's completely transparent. I never had any inclination to go into healthcare or firefighting or the police department. It takes a special kind of person.
Yeah, I briefly drove an ambulance.
Did you really?
In college, yeah.
What a lead.
But it was in
college?
It wasn't.
Was it a fun ambulance?
No.
You were
It
delivering
was
kegs?
But it was also not a paramedics rig.
Okay.
It was a patient transport rig. A friend of mine ran a company, and he needed drivers. So you need to have a stellar driving record, and we needed to always have, it was a 3-person team. You needed to have one person who was a trained, licensed EMT. But it was mainly for patient transfer. So we would pick up, if they're at a hospital and needed specific care, most of these people were in pretty bad way. Needed specific care for, say, a head injury or something, you would transport them. We had to do transport sometimes from the Bay Area to Los Angeles, things like that, which were long trips. And so I did that to make extra money over the course of a summer. So that's my only connection.
That was
with that.
enough.
I was never trained as an EMT.
Okay.
But I did get good at getting people into the gurney and getting the gurney into the rig.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
I think it comes with special parking. When we come back, we're going to tell you about a story about a Washington State Supreme Court judge pro tem who wanted to cut a couple corners that may have cost him his career. You won't believe what this guy did to save a few bucks. We'll have it right next. Don't go anywhere.
Choke Points with Chris Sullivan.
With Choke Points, we try to answer listeners' questions. It can be as simple as a neighborhood stop sign, or it can be as big as the budget for transportation. I don't care. I'll find the answer for you. It's really easy to get a hold of me at mynorthwest.com. We have a direct link there that gets right to me. You can also do it in the app. You can hit me up on the text line.
Choke Points, presented by Carter Subaru. Tuesdays and Thursdays on KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM.
I'm waiting for mortgage rates to come down. You know, I hear that every week, and even though rates are a little higher than I'd like, VA loan rates have come down low enough that some people are saving hundreds of dollars per month simply by consolidating their bills into one VA cash-out refinance. Hi, I'm Steve Teitler, owner of Best Mortgage, a local family-owned company, the VA loan experts for 34 years. We love helping our veterans save money. One of our VA clients saved more than $1,200 per month. We can also help you buy a home with no money down. The VA loan program is a fantastic deal that you have earned. Give us a call and we'll discuss your VA loan options with honest advice you can trust. And we do conventional loans too. Search the web for Best Mortgage or call 425-649-6000. You'll talk to a real person, never an AI robot. Best Mortgage, 425-649-6000.
I just can't dig it.
Dig what?
My water line.
Needs replacing?
And I don't want digging in my yard.
And maybe your driveway.
Can't dig it.
Don't dig it.
But how do you?
Apollo Plumbing replaces water lines without digging up your yard.
You're Dan.
From the Ready Right Now plumbers.
Apollo Plumbing.
Our trenchless technology replaces water and sewer lines.
Without digging up my yard?
2 little holes is all it takes.
Sounds better.
Faster, too.
And my yard?
Like we were never there.
Sounds spendy.
Not so much.
Oh?
In the end, about the same as that messy digging you don't want.
How do you figure?
Think about that landscaping you love.
Yeah?
Trenchless means you won't be paying to replace it.
Or my driveway.
We run everything underground.
Trenchless?
Do them all the time.
How about...
Easy payments?
Yeah.
With approved credit. Sure thing.
When can you get started?
We are the Ready Right Now plumbers.
Love that.
Apollo Plumbing, trenchless waterline replacement.
Sewer lines, too.
Can you dig that?
That I can.
ApolloPlumbing.com.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here with my buddy Shannon O'Kelly from IRG Physical and Hand Therapy. So much more than just physical and hand therapy, though, Shannon. You guys, holy smokes, do you have a lot of specialty care?
Yeah, Brock, we do. You know, obviously our nuts and bolts is good old musculoskeletal, but we have a lot of therapists that do advanced certifications in specialty care. And that's important because we can treat the whole population. We can treat your neighborhood. We can treat your family. And those specialty services range from neurovestibular care to dry needling, sports medicine, hand therapy, pelvic floor, vestibular rehab, lymphedema, you name it, we have that service. Again, we're about taking care of the whole family and the whole family's needs.
Remember, IRG, they're in your neighborhood. I'm talking over 40 locations and new additions in Wallingford and the WAC as well, that Washington Athletic Club. You can find them in person. You can find it online at irgpt.com. That is irgpt.com. ZipRecruiter.com.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free. Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
On top of home and auto, Progressive protects your boat, RV, and motorcycle so you can explore the unknown.
Actually, we just take the RV to the same campground every year.
Well, maybe you can catch your own dinner on your boat.
Oh, we can actually get pizza delivered there from this brick oven place we love.
Will you at least try a new topping?
Honestly, probably not. We kind of have a go-to order.
Fine. Just bundle home or auto insurance with your outdoor vehicles with Progressive and stay protected when you go, I guess, where you've gone before. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction or your money back. File today the easy way in the Credit Karma app. The deadline for filing taxes is coming up. Donate your car to Cars for Kids for a 2026 tax deduction. Go to carsforkids.org today. That's cars with a K. Now is your time to get into a new D.R. Horton home by taking advantage of its National Red Tag Sales event going on right now through Sunday, May 3rd. Stop by any of its participating communities and find select Red Tag homes at incredible pricing. So whether you're buying your first home or looking for an upgrade, you don't want to miss the Red Tag Sales event going on right now. Discover the D.R. Horton difference. Visit drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
Hi, welcome back, everybody. So this is a story that came across our desk this morning, and it's a little shocking and befuddling, but as I've read into it and get the details, this is the epitome of what justice is, I think. We're talking about a Washington State judge. Washington State Supreme Court weighed in on this judge, this particular judge. So back in 2023, this judge who was working, his name is David Razumna. David Razumna. He was working as a pro tem or temporary judge in King County District Court. So what he did was he took a piece of paper and made himself a little note that said, David Razumna is employed with the King County District Court as a judge pro tem. He then affixed the official court seal on that paper, and he used that paper to get himself a discounted rate at a parking lot, a city parking lot. There's a discounted rate for county employees. He was then busted on it and said he was just meant it as a bad joke. And he was recommended that he was suspended. He was given a reprimand. And then it was decided by the King County Supreme Court that he would have his judgeship revoked. He's being sent away, and he's going to never be a judge again. And I'm thinking, so what kind of a maroon is dumb enough to put such a livelihood and a reputation at risk to save a few bucks on parking? When I first saw this, I'm like, okay, has anybody ever done something that stupid, put that much at risk for something so small and so stupid?
Yeah, I don't know. It's very much a, hold my beer moment, right? It's one of those things that why the risk reward equation doesn't quite work, right? You're saving, a little bit of money on parking. I mean, not that I'm trying to encourage anyone to be like severely on the take before they do something illegal, but this one seems so picayune to like put yourself and to make the assumption, well, no one's really checking, and so they do something like that and then says, I don't know, that the rationale that it was a joke.
It was a bad joke. And I came clean
to
with it.
Who was laughing?
Right? This was flat out deceit.
Yeah.
And Judge Lisa O'Toole, a member of the Court District's Executive Committee, who voted to remove Razumna, said that this just speaks to an incredible lack of judgment and a lack of character, because this was willful and knowing misrepresentation and fraud for such a ridiculously stupid, as you mentioned, risk-reward.
Right.
This Judge Razumna, he was at one point part of the Washington State Bar Association's Character and Fitness Board. This guy was on the board who judged the character of fellow judges. It makes you think that, it's always the ones, it seems to me, it's always the ones who protest too loudly or are the arbiters of what is right and wrong are the ones that most often have this dark, dirty underside that get with as much as they can get away with.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just glad there was a mechanism in place. I wish they would have explained how they did actually catch that. I mean, because it could be that you hand this piece of paper. It could be that other people had done something similar.
Right.
I mean, and they didn't see it. And in this particular case, they did. I would be curious to know, it's not detailed in this story, like how did they catch him? And I mean, kudos to whomever did. But I would argue, I mean, as much as he said, I mean, his quote that I respect the court when they ruled against him, but I tried to take responsibility, but they got this one wrong. No, of course they didn't. They got it entirely right. But the thing that is interesting to me is, like, I don't blame the court for, like, I'm happy he's no longer a judge pro tem, but because if you're willing to risk, I mean, anyone willing to risk their own career over, like, marginal savings. If you're risking your own career because you've got a shot at stealing $1 million from a bank, I wouldn't ever do that.
But
you can see,
yes.
like, that is this like generational changing amount of money. This is a guy saving on parking. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me at all. And if someone has that, like, weak, that
well, he's flawed. He's horribly cracked and flawed, both in character and in judgment.
If his decision tree is that
right.
stunted, one would have to wonder, like, is that the judge you want to appear in front of?
Exactly.
And is that someone going to be doing all of their research? And is that someone actually behaving in any way responsibly with other people's lives if they can't even behave responsibly with their own?
Exactly. He's a judge.
Yeah.
He's literally got life and death. But I don't know if it's a...
I mean, and as much as I feel like the Bar Association does not follow up on a lot of these things the way they should, and the Judicial Commission doesn't, this was one where they get the tip of the hat because that person should not be doing that job.
On either front.
Yeah.
On the fact that his character is completely void, and also the judgment too. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, completely.
Thank you, Mike. Folks, this is the Jake and Spike Show with Mike Lewis sitting in. We have much more to come. Another whole hour to go. We'll be right back after these. Don't go anywhere.
Local news from local voices you trust.
Flights out of Joint Base Lewis McChord.
KIRO News Radio.
Questions about whether the Pentagon is deploying special forces to the Middle East.
The news you depend on.
Gas prices up 25 cents in the last week.
Conversation.
Then all of a sudden, Trump comes out, hey, we're having productive talks.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
Touchdown, Seahawks!
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM. Streaming everywhere on the KIRO News Radio app.
The stock market was on fire in 2025 due to AI and tech stocks. Now is the time to set a strategy for 2026. It's a good opportunity to lock in those gains and invest into a stable platform. With $8 trillion in cash sitting on the sidelines, investors are either scared or unsure where to go. Hi, I'm Scott Rurecka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Legacy Group Capital develops local real estate, lends money, and shares the profits with our investors. Diversify with Legacy Group Capital. Invest into our Northwest Fund, which is currently delivering 9% on a fixed rate term. It's our flagship fund for 19 years with zero investor losses. And yes, we do accept IRAs. Find out why 1,300 local investors have invested over $350 million.
Legacy Group Capital at LegacyG.com. This is not investment advice. Investments available to accredited investors only. Details at LegacyG.com.
Hartley Wilcox here. I'm sure you've heard the saying, you are what you eat. And everyone knows eggs are an incredible source of natural protein and omega-3. But have you ever stopped to think about what the hens eat to make the eggs great tasting and even healthier to eat? At Wilcox Farms, we believe in nature-first nutrition. Our hens enjoy pasture access and a diet of organic grains and flaxseed. That means vibrant golden yolks, richer flavor, and higher omega-3s for you and your family. When you choose Wilcox, you're not just buying eggs, you're investing in real nutrition and real value. Because healthy hens make healthy eggs, and healthy eggs make healthy, happy families. So next time you're at the store, look for Wilcox Family Farms eggs. Taste the difference that starts with what our hens eat. Learn more at wilcoxfarms.com. Wilcox Farms, where better eggs begin with better care. Wilcox Family Farms eggs, locally fresh since 1909.
When it comes to financial planning, women often face different realities. For some, years were spent caregiving or raising children. Others were growing careers. Yet so often, investments and tax decisions were set aside or handled by someone else. And statistically, women live longer. Over the next 20 years, trillions will transfer to women only after the loss of a spouse. And suddenly, they're expected to make these complex decisions alone. That's why I created Growing Her Wealth. I'm Danielle Meister, a wealth advisor at Madrona Financial and CPAs. This initiative was built to empower women and integrate investments, tax strategy, and estate planning all under one roof. This is for men as well, husbands and wives, to ensure a coordinated long-term plan. It's about elevating family stewardship. If you or someone you love wants thoughtful guidance in a professional, supportive environment, join me at an upcoming seminar or webinar. Visit growingherwealth.com to reserve your seat today. Growing Her Wealth, financial confidence on your terms.
Madrona Financial Services is an SEC registered investment advisor.
Golden Crest Metals helps investors understand how physical gold and silver can be held inside qualified retirement accounts without pressure or confusion. Our team brings decades of experience in precious metals and retirement planning with a focus on clear education, straightforward pricing, and a process designed to put clients first. Why do investors choose Golden Crest Metals? Experience, transparency, and a client-first approach. Tune into The Gold Show with Kenny Michaels every Saturday at 1 p.m.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM, and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Peter King at the Kennedy Space Center. With Artemis 2 speeding towards splashdown in just over 3 hours, Commander Reed Weissman describes what he's seeing.
Unbelievably spectacular view.
That view of the Earth is getting bigger by the second, with the Orion spacecraft getting ready for a 24,000-mile-per-hour reentry. The final rocket burn from the ship's service module engine, sharpening the path.
This vehicle powered us, and it propelled us from the Earth to the moon and back with extreme precision, and we are excited to be a part of your team.
The recovery zone is about 40 miles off the coast of San Diego. NASA says the forecast is perfect. I'm Peter King at the Kennedy Space Center, now with more CBS News. Here's Jennifer Kuiper.
Vice President J.D. Vance joins the U.S. delegation in Pakistan for tomorrow's ceasefire talks with Iran. CBS's Elizabeth Palmer reports an Iranian negotiator has made some new demands, including having the ceasefire extend to Israel and Lebanon, and that the U.S. unfreeze frozen Iranian assets.
Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, and I used to talk to him when I went to Iran. He is a tough negotiator. He's a one tough cookie. He's a real survivor in the Revolutionary Guard Corps. And I would say he's going to make a very tough opponent at the table if the talks do go ahead.
The heads of the nation's largest banks met this week with the chair of the Federal Reserve and Treasury Secretary over possible Anthropic AI security concerns. CBS's Allison Keyes reports.
Anthropic's Claude model was launched this week in a preview to some 40 organizations under an initiative called Project Glasswing. The company says it can scan vast amounts of code to find previously unknown security issues in critical systems, but also warns it could be done in a speed no human could match, and it could be used to bring down banks or national infrastructure within hours.
At the National Action Network conference in New York, former Vice President Kamala Harris is asked by the Reverend Al Sharpton if she plans to run for president in 2028.
I spent countless hours in the Oval Office and the Situation Room. I know what the job is, and I know what it requires.
And she says she's thinking about it. A new report says property taxes are rising faster than inflation. CBS's Michael Wallace with examples.
The real estate data firm Adam says property taxes rose 3.7% in 2025 from a year earlier. Delaware property owners saw the biggest tax increase, 18%. Nationwide, the average property tax bill was $4,427.
Property taxes fell in 10 states, mostly in the West. This is CBS News.
Go to the ends of the earth, half a world away. Reach for the stars.
If I take time to think, they might go get Brad.
On CBS, Sunday morning.
Coming up, another airline hikes baggage fees. That's after Lori at the real-time traffic desk.
Traffic is brought to you by the Emerald Queen Casino. Westbound 520 at Montlake, we have a collision. I'm not really seeing a slowdown as you head past the scene. South 5 at the Port of Tacoma, we have an accident in the right lane, making your drive Federal Way to Tacoma about 6 minutes longer than usual. I-5 northbound at 48, that accident cleared, but boy, it's still leaving a huge backup as you approach the scene. Your drive Lakewood to Tacoma, about a 2-minute delay. Westbound 16, very heavy from Gig Harbor to the 302 Spur. Northbound 5 in Bellingham closed through the 16th of April, and we're seeing a 1-hour delay or wait at the Edmonds dock for the Edmonds-Kingston ferry. Jim Jeffries, the Australian stand-up powerhouse, comes to the Emerald Queen Casino June 18th. Only at the Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. I'm Lori, KIRO Real-Time Traffic.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Hey, good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. It may go down as the most infamous broken bat in baseball. As the Mariners unveiled a statue of Ichiro outside T-Mobile Park today, the bat snapped where the barrel meets the handle. Broadcaster Rick Riz was hosting the ceremony and quipped it was a fastball inside.
And he still got a base hit. What a remarkable piece of art.
Ichiro also had to laugh it off. The bat is back upright after getting a quick fix. The first 40,000 fans at tonight's game get a replica statue. Seattle police detectives are asking for the public's help to find a dangerous man wanted for an assault. Here's KIRO News Radio's James Lynch.
Police say the unidentified suspect walked into the Safeway Market on Occidental, stole a bottle of wine, and when employees tried to stop him, SPD Detective Eric Munoz says the man used the bottle as a weapon.
The first victim sustained significant facial injuries. There's going to be some permanent disfigurement, and our second victim sustained very serious head trauma. That individual is still in the hospital.
You can see the man's photo at mynorthwest.com. Police want you to pay particular attention to his head covering, his shirt, and his shoes. If you recognize the man, call 911. James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
Kent police said they have all of their suspects in custody after 3 apparent homicides on Tuesday night. Detectives arrested a man last night. They say he stabbed a victim to death on West Meeker. In a separate case, a 34-year-old man is accused of shooting and killing 2 men at a backyard party. Yesterday, a judge set his bail at $5 million. It is becoming a lot more expensive to fly these days, especially if you're checking a bag. KIRO News Radio's John Repp reports.
First JetBlue, and now almost every airline has additional baggage surcharges in place because of global disruption and fuel price volatility. Travel expert Gary Leff with viewfromthewing.com says it's easier for airlines to add a fee rather than adjusting ticket prices.
This is a kind of blunt tool that does accomplish that across-the-board fee increase. It's very simple, easy to communicate.
The downside, Leff says those surcharges are likely here to stay, which means it's more important than ever to calculate the total cost when you fly. John Repp, KIRO News Radio.
And your weather update, looking at mostly cloudy skies right now, but pleasant temperatures topping out in the upper 60s this afternoon. Tomorrow, a bit of rain starts to roll through. Right now, 63 in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
You're listening to the best of the Jake and Spike Show on 97.3 KIRO News Radio.
And now, it's time for the Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio. with your hosts, Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
Jake Skorheim here. Spike O'Neill sitting right there. Sunny yesterday. Did you catch some of that sun?
I caught some sun yesterday on my way from the car to my front door. That was plenty.
Got to get your long rays in. It's funny, though, the health stuff that people have access to now. Just like new knowledge about things that we've been doing forever. Like, it's generally a good idea to get out into the sun.
Yeah.
Just like good advice.
Yep.
But there's science behind it.
Breathe air, touch grass, see some sun.
Breathe air, touch grass,
yeah.
all the different stuff.
Yeah. Didn't used to have to be, you used to have to tell people that. Didn't used to have to prescribe sunlight to people.
Back in the old days, people were just outside. And now you don't leave your house. I mean, not you personally, but like people don't leave their house. And so now they have to tell them, like, hey, it's actually a good idea to be outside for 5 minutes.
Well, we work, we commute, we get home. You know, there's not a lot of free time in the modern schedule, you know?
Well, people don't prioritize the right way.
Fair point.
They waste a ton of time.
Yeah.
You want to find some free time? Go look at your screen time on your phone. Find out how much time you spend staring at that stupid thing. Tell me you don't have free time.
How's this for an idea? Your phone only works outside. Solar powered, if you will.
Interesting. But then you have to give your phone permission to... Actually, it already has. It follows you everywhere.
Sure do.
Yeah, you can't get away from it.
If you're sitting on your couch, your phone don't work.
Airplane mode, that's a fun thing. Do you have airplane mode? Do you feel here? Okay, this is stupid. We'll get into. We have a lot of stuff to get to today, which we will in just a second. We'll get
It's a relevant story to our first story. It's pretty relevant to this. It's about surveillance. It's about knowing where people are.
True. Do you ever feel like a small sense of accomplishment when you switch into airplane mode? Like you're accomplishing something good for the day? And it almost to the same level as like whenever I do any kind of workout, I think to myself, yeah,
I've done something good for myself.
I've done something good for myself.
You know, I'd have to switch it in airplane mode to know how that feels. I don't know if I've ever done that.
Well,
honestly,
even on an airplane?
But
that's
doesn't the plane do it for me?
No.
Okay, I didn't know that.
No, you got to switch into airplane mode.
Because
they tell you if you don't switch into airplane mode, the plane won't go. Explain that one.
I just recently stopped trying to dial my phone like with a circular dial. I'm making progress.
That is a cool app, by the way. Do they have that app? Do they have a dial? Do they have a rotary dial app?
That's touch triggered.
We just gave away one of our $1 million ideas. Dang it. Does that already exist? It probably already exists.
I'm sure it does. Let's do a search.
Do rotary dial.
That's not
app. All right. Speaking of surveillance, let's get into some stuff here. Governor Ferguson just signed 3 new bills. The reason I want to talk about this is because this has given me, I think, a very good idea.
That's all you get.
That's what we're doing here. We're trying to present to you guys good ideas. We'll get into that in just a second. But I think this provides a little bit of a entry point into what I think could be very advantageous for a lot of people.
Great.
And I think they're going to enjoy it. And a big complaint that we talk about on the show a lot, I think can be addressed under some of these things that Governor Ferguson has just signed. Let me play you some audio of him signing some bills. He's been signing a lot of bills lately. One of them was the income tax, unconstitutional. Quick side note about the income tax, by the way. Let's say from a PR perspective, because a lot of people are upset about this, as they should be. From a PR perspective, you're sitting there, you're in the state, wherever they're at, the rotunda, literally an echo chamber, and they're surrounded by all these people who want this income tax. Mm-hmm. And they're calling it a millionaire's tax, but we all know better. And a tax is still a tax. I mean, it is a new tax. They're introducing a new tax. Taxes, we all generally agree, are not something that a ton of us like. We pay them because we understand that they're a necessity.
Necessary evil, yeah.
You got to pay for roads. You got to pay for local swimming pools, things like that you have to do.
Fire department, police.
Fire department, all that stuff. All the
civilization. Taxation is the price we pay for civilization.
Sure. To a point.
And
but then there's a point where you're overtaxed and you say, you know what? You can take this civilization, you can shove it. And the funny thing to me is when you have completely lost sight of that. Not you. I mean, Ferguson in this case. Sure. Ferguson and Peterson and all the different people who are standing at the podium.
I think it's Pedersen, but go on.
Is it Pedersen?
I think so.
Nate told his sister it was Pedersen, and I think he might be right. Yeah. Pedersen. Jenkins and whoever all the other people were that were part of this. You're standing there, and you do this thing that is going to be challenged in court, unconstitutional, all these different things. And thunderous applause, and you're cheering over a tax.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't that be looked at as kind of like oh man, this really sucks, so we got to do this. We don't want to have to do this because obviously we don't want anybody. They're trying to vilify millionaires as if they're bad people or something.
Yeah.
Why cheering? Why are you cheering? That's the thing. That's the part to me. You don't have to answer that question. It's just more of like I'm tossing it out there.
I think I'd write off the tone deafness to the mood of their constituency and the struggles that they're in.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking at it like the other side is your enemy, not your partner.
That's a mistake.
If business owners are vilified, not the driving engine of an economy, then you're going to pop champagne. And I still think the goggles to keep the champagne out of their eyes, probably a smart idea, but not a good look. Okay?
The confetti, they need the confetti. The brass band, do they need the brass band?
It's a bad look.
Obviously, those are jokes. They didn't have those things. But, yes, to me, it was all kind of the same thing. All the cheering. I was like, why are they cheering? I don't understand the cheering. This is a bad sign. If the justification for the tax is, they say it's regressive, blah, blah, blah. But
that means their messaging, they feel their messaging is working. They feel that if this goes to a public vote, as was it Brian Haywood yesterday said he's going to start the initiative process to put this a referendum to put this on a ballot in November.
Yes,
they think they're going to win that. They think they're going to win that election. They really do. They think they're going to win. They're going to get. They think 60% of people will vote for a millionaire's tax.
How is it possible that they are so sure of themselves that they would all stand there and cheer? I mean, that would have been the day where I would have been like, "Hey guys, let's do a mask mandate for inside right now, just for 5 minutes, so nobody can see our faces."
See who's cheering
as we sign this thing.
Yeah,
I don't want anybody to remember who we were.
You could always say you were frowning.
As he's handing out pens, I would have been hiding in the back, like, I don't need a pen. I don't need a pen. Don't give me a pen.
I'm good.
I don't want to have my name on that. Please, no. He's like, come on up here, get your pen. Pedersen, where are you?
Where are you, Pedersen? Why are there so many extra pens?
Nobody want these pens? I got free pens. Anyway, all right, we'll talk about all that at 1 o'clock. Lots of fun stuff. Here was one of the bills, 3 bills that he signed regarding ICE and handing over information to federal government. Here's a little bit from Governor Ferguson. Was this just yesterday he signed these? I believe it was just yesterday. Yes. Here we go.
We're living in a challenging time on a range of issues, but I think it's fair to say at the top of those challenging issues is what's going on with ICE. And it's really my honor to sign this legislation.
So 3 different laws. One of them had to do with license plate cameras. Another one had to do with
workplace inspections.
And then another one was shared leave, which we should get into in just a second. It's an interesting topic, shared leave. But let's get into the license plate camera thing for a second. According to this piece in King 5, says the first law bans cities and companies from sharing data from Flock, automatic license plate reader cameras, with ICE. Supporters say the cameras, which are used widely across Washington, have become a tool for federal agents can exploit to track undocumented residents. State Rep Yasmin Trudeau says what happens when the rules are not followed is clear enforcement through private right of action and through the Attorney General's Consumer Protection Authority against the company itself. So these would be with companies who are
providing these cameras and gathering this data.
And it got me thinking, I'm like, they have a real aversion to flock cameras right now, license plate readers, things like that.
Yeah.
Which down in Pierce County, did you see this down in Pierce County? Pierce County put out this press release.
Yeah, I saw the sheriff's office put out a release.
What's his name? Swank said this is from the sheriff's office. The Pierce County Sheriff's Office announces this immediate deactivation of automatic license plate readers, ALPR's system, commonly known as flock cameras, in response to recent signing of the Driver Privacy Act by Bob Ferguson, which we just played you a little bit of audio of. He goes on to say the legislation passed by the Washington State legislature earlier this month establishes strict new regulations governing the use of ALPR technology by law enforcement agencies. Among its provisions, the law prohibits use of license plate readers in the proximity of community locations, including hospitals, schools, and other protected areas. Violations of these restrictions carry significant legal consequences, including classification as a gross misdemeanor for individual officers. So he's basically saying, we don't know how the law, how this is going to affect officers. This puts them in danger.
Yeah, because they really can't delineate in real time if cameras are within these restricted areas of schools and hospitals.
Yes.
And if an officer uses information from a flock camera, not be able to check in real time if it's in violation of those restrictions.
He doesn't want his officers.
Puts his guys in legal.
His deputies, I should say in this case. He doesn't want his deputies in legal trouble. So they are stopping the tool. He says at this time there's no available technology or capability that allows the office to ensure that the cameras can reliably differentiate, just like you described.
Yeah.
I understand this. This makes sense.
Makes perfect sense.
It is a shame because these cameras are very quick ways of identifying stolen vehicles.
Yeah, there's useful elements. Absolutely.
Very useful elements to these. Yeah. He says the loss of this tool is a significant setback for public safety in our community. This technology has been instrumental in locating missing persons, including silver alert cases, which I hadn't even thought about, which is interesting.
Sure.
Identifying stolen vehicles and apprehending dangerous offenders. Without it, our ability to respond quickly and effectively is diminished. Now, I imagine as this is now just law as of yesterday. I don't know when I believe that the traffic ones, that the license plate ones goes into effect immediately.
Yeah.
Some of the other ones are not until, I don't believe, October.
And that would be Everett, Linwood. They've also stopped using this services for the same reason.
Yeah, and I think Seattle said they're not going to expand anymore. Right, they have current ones in, but they're not going to expand the service anymore. And one, it is a shame that it would stop the use of things that do help.
Yeah, the upside of these things are going to be inhibited by this lack of use of these. But it's about states' rights. It's about Governor Ferguson saying these are the priorities for the citizens of Washington who voted this group into office, and that the federal immigration policies that this information would benefit. We don't share that.
Yeah,
because our state priorities are otherwise, and that's kind of where the crossroads meet here on this issue. Does ICE and immigration enforcement in general have access to private information of Washington citizens?
Let me ask you this question.
Sure.
Given all that, and I, it's law now. I understand. At least I understand the argument. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I understand the argument. What is the number one where do we capture the most pictures of license plates in the entire state?
Intersections?
By far. No.
No? Work zones?
Toll roads.
Oh, okay. Toll roads.
State toll roads.
Sure. Well, yeah, sure.
We're capturing license plates.
Sure you are.
Day and night.
Yeah, and they know they got my address. I keep getting the bills in the mail.
And where are they processing those pictures? Texas.
Okay. Yeah, I knew it's an out-of-state service, and they just run it for free.
They administrate.
Yeah, they run it, administrate it, and send the state, whatever municipality they work in, state, city, county, a portion of the proceeds.
WashDOT runs part of it. They run part of it. There's some back office stuff that they run on because it's their system that they put in, and it's a massive system. There's been a lot of arguments, actually. A lot of people were like, hey, why are you guys sending all this money out of state? Why are you allowing somebody else to collect all this money from these toll cameras? And I'm just thinking to myself, like, is that safe for people? If Governor Ferguson's objecting to license plates being used, is that safe? Because they are capturing license plates all the time. And it's like early morning, it's a late, early evening.
Yeah, I hear you.
And I think they should look into that. And I think they should shut that system down immediately.
Shut the toll system down?
Well, here's what I think, honestly. And I'm not being tongue-in-cheek here. I mean, it's meeting an end that I want, which is I think the tolls are horrible.
Elimination of tolls.
I want the tolls gone. But also, if they're going to use this as law and they're going to say we're trying to protect drivers in Washington State from the federal government, they can't decide what's happening in Texas. They can't decide how that information is being used. That's a private company it's going to. And they made very clear here that they're going to make sure that every time a private company does something like this, there's rules that have to be followed, clearly enforced. And my thing is, why don't you look at the number one thing that's taking pictures of license plates in our state? And if you're not willing to look at that, it's because they like the dollars that are coming in, right?
Possibly. Do we know that there's no limitations on?
I don't know.
Okay.
And I think they've now opened the door to the question.
Yeah, no, it's a valid question to ask. And if it's about privacy, it's about the sovereignty of states' rights.
If it's about the privacy, and you're sending all of our pictures to Texas, and they have a big problem with that.
If Texas is a clearinghouse for information that's gathered by these services of toll roads and various other camera-operated functions,
I think they should shut those toll roads down immediately until they can guarantee that those are safe. I got a lot of text messages from people about this. They said, do we know that those toll roads are safe? These are just questions that I'm asking. Okay. Obviously, I don't have the answer to all these WashDOT questions. I'm sure Governor Ferguson has thought of this already.
Well, let's reach out to the governor and say, do we know? Do you know that the information being shared with this organization?
Can we send an email to the governor's office and say, do we know for a fact that this information is safe? Because if it's not, I think it would be responsible of him.
Open the email with, hey, congratulations on your new income tax, just so we get him off on the right foot. And then say, do we know? Give it no, because we're coming in under cover of...
You catch more flies with honey?
Sure, you're going to get him to read it. The subject line says, say, congratulations on the extra dough.
Yeah.
Right, and say, hey, since privacy has become a paramount concern of this legislative session, do we know that we're not giving up our fellow citizens?
Yes. And I think a temporarily closing down until they can guarantee the safety of our Washingtonian residents and whoever it is.
You're thinking about the little man.
I'm trying to protect the people here, Spike. Because you know what?
So many
people,
friends.
every single day you're driving under there. How many scanners do you drive in on 405 or 167?
12, probably, if I had to guess.
So I was commuting at one point. I was commuting under like 13 of them.
Oh, wow.
13 pictures of my license plate being taken? No, thank you. I can't guarantee the safety of that. And I hope the governor can. And if he can't, it's the responsible thing for them to shut it down, even if it's just temporary. Now, listen, if there's a small loss of money coming into WashDOT and the state, which dramatically needs the money because we have the 47th worst roads in the entire country. I know they need the money, but listen, you better not put that above the safety of the citizens that you're trying to protect.
Yeah, you bet.
Absolutely. Privacy
and the
above all else.
Right, sure.
So what they need to do is they need to
put
shut
money
that
ahead
down.
of that. Yeah.
Is that unreasonable? I don't think it's unreasonable.
I think it's a very clever way to find out what's actually going on with our information.
I think so.
And to make sure that these policies are uniformly applied across the state. Which is the underlying problem with the income tax, but we'll get to that at 1 o'clock.
And you know what? If it costs them a little bit of money in the meantime, and it's a little bit less money out of my pocket, so be it. I'm willing to suffer that.
You are.
I am willing to suffer that.
It's not
if it
about
means
you,
for
it's
a
about
short,
all of us.
It's about everyone in Washington. I'm trying to
That's why I
save
love
you
working
money.
with you, buddy.
Isn't that a?
That's great. It's very, very, very compassionately well thought out.
People know I'm a compassionate guy.
You are.
I wear my heart on my sleeve. Sure. It's right there. All right, we have a lot more coming up. Stick around. We'll be right back.
This hour is brought to you by Davis Law Group.
Congratulations to KIRO News Radio's Charlie Harger and digital content producer Patrick Janasek, nominated for a Northwest Emmy Award for investigative reporting.
It began with a question from the community. It seemed almost too stunning to be true.
KIRO News Radio is honored to be the only radio station nominated for the prestigious Emmy Award as part of our commitment to impactful storytelling across every platform, reaching into the communities we serve. On KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877-CARS-4-KIDS to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877-CARS-4-KIDS to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
Did you know in Washington State, you can see a physical therapist without a referral from your doctor? That's right. Thanks to Direct Access, you can skip the wait and get the care you need right away. Shannon O'Kelly, how has Direct Access changed the game?
Direct Access for us, Brock, is a game changer. Why? Is because there is so much research and data out there that says if you get in early when you have a musculoskeletal problem or an injury, the earlier you get in and we can start care, the better outcomes and the decreased downstream cost, okay? So it's so important. Our providers are all doctors of physical therapy. They're all trained to identify situations and problems. They've got the skill, they've got the talent, they've got the knowledge. If you get in and start therapy early, we're going to get you back to activity, pain-free, and moving and having fun.
Fast, easy, effective. Direct Access is your path to better movement, starting with a single step. Visit irgpt.com to schedule your appointment today. irgpt.com.
I'm Bradley Johnson with 1-800-DUI-AWAY. Let's talk about artificial intelligence.
I cannot answer that.
Many professions are using it, and allegedly some are even being taken over by it. At 1-800-DUI-AWAY, we know police are leveraging AI, whether it's analyzing body cam footage, reading license plates, or even facial recognition. AI has become a helpful tool, enabling officers to work more efficiently. And efficiency for them means more people getting pulled over. You can't chat GPT your way out of a high BAC. Getting legal advice from AI is no substitute for an attorney. Use AI correctly, or it can result in trouble, like a self-driving car taking you home from a bar.
You have reached your destination.
So call 1-800-DUI-AWAY or go to 1-800-DUI-AWAY.com. If you get pulled over for DUI, the only thing you need your smart device to do is call 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
1-800-DUI-AWAY!
Owie, wowie!
What's with the...
Water heater's worn out.
Way less hot water?
Takes a lot longer, too.
Sounds like a goner.
Worst of all?
What?
Wasn't planning on it.
We can help.
Apollo Plumbing.
Ready right now to get you...
in hot water.
Same day.
Not this day. My budget.
How about with easy payments?
How much easy?
Around $50 a month with approved credit.
A new water heater?
50 gallons of 100% hot water delight.
For about $50 a month.
51, 52 to be precise.
And you can do it
today, if that's what you need.
Is it ever?
Apollo installs new ones with code upgrades.
Can't beat that.
Actually, I can.
What?
Your same-day water heater replacement includes Wrenchy's worry-free warranty.
Which means?
Apollo Plumbing covers your new water heater for life.
You mean should it ever wear out?
Apollo Plumbing replaces it free.
And if it needs service?
Service is included for our A-list members.
Wow!
Your new water heater is ready
right now
at ApolloPlumbing.com.
The stock market was on fire in 2025 due to AI and tech stocks. Now is the time to set a strategy for 2026. It's a good opportunity to lock in those gains and invest into a stable platform. With $8 trillion in cash sitting on the sidelines, investors are either scared or unsure where to go. Hi, I'm Scott Rurecka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Legacy Group Capital develops local real estate, lends money, and shares the profits with our investors. Diversify with Legacy Group Capital. Invest into our Northwest Fund, which is currently delivering 9% on a fixed rate term. It's our flagship fund for 19 years with zero investor losses. And yes, we do accept IRAs. Find out why 1,300 local investors have invested over $350 million.
Legacy Group Capital at legacyg.com. This is not investment advice. Investments available to accredited investors only. Details at legacyg.com. Your VA loan and reverse mortgage experts for 34 years. Best Mortgage is proud to be the longest-running mortgage company on KIRO Radio. Get a no-pressure consultation from a real person, never an AI bot. Web search Best Mortgage for honest advice you can trust.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Aaron Granillo. Artemis 2 is speeding towards splashdown in the Pacific. Astronaut Christina Cook telling Mission Control vital equipment is ready to be turned off.
We are ready for MCC to deactivate the toilet.
Houston copies. Putting that in work.
The Museum of Flight is hosting a watch party. The museum's Ted Hutter says the mission reflects the work of thousands of people who live and work in our region.
The space industry is far different now. And we have many, many local companies involved in the current space program.
Splashdown is set for about 5 p.m. our time. A delegation of Iranian negotiators has arrived in Pakistan for peace talks with the U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance is on his way. CBS's Imtiaz Tayyab is already there in Islamabad.
I think we can guess the Strait of Hormuz will certainly be at the top of the agenda. Iran's nuclear program will be on that agenda. And, of course, Iran's ballistic missiles program and very likely its proxies around the region. These are very thorny issues and are going to be very complex.
New report says property taxes across the country are rising faster than inflation. Here's CBS's Michael Wallace.
The real estate data firm Adam says property taxes rose 3.7% in 2025 from a year earlier, while the consumer price index rose 2.7%. Delaware property owners saw the biggest tax increase, 18%. Nationwide, the average property tax bill was $4,427. New Jersey had the highest taxes, averaging $10,500. West Virginia had the lowest at just under $1,100. Property taxes fell in 10 states, mostly in the West. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Stretch of northbound I-5 near Bellingham is set to reopen next Thursday. That's nearly a month after a major landslide shut it down. Crews have spent weeks clearing debris and stabilizing the slope after tons of rock slid onto the freeway. WashDOT says all lanes between North Lake Samish Drive and Highway 11 should open by 5 a.m. on Thursday. Till then, drivers should continue using those detours. Now to the real-time traffic desk at 2:32. Here is Lori.
Northbound I-5 at 41st in Everett, a stall just cleared the roadway, but you're rolling pretty slow already as you head past US 2. Northbound I-5 at I-90, we have a collision partly blocking, and 520 westbound at Montlake, partly blocking the ramp. I'm not seeing a slowdown, however, past that scene. 23-minute drive Linwood to Seattle, and then Linwood to Bellevue on 405 is just a 17-minute drive. South 5 of the Port of Tacoma, that cleared, but you're still backed up to 18, making your drive Federal Way to Tacoma a 9-minute delay. I'm Lori, KIRO Real-Time Traffic.
Thank you, Lori. Now to your forecast. Looking at cloudy skies today and some rain tomorrow, with highs tomorrow in the upper 50s. Same for Sunday. Right now, it is 64 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
You're listening to the best of the Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio.
Welcome back to the show. Hard Knocks. HBO's Hard Knocks.
I don't know.
Are you nervous about this?
A little bit.
Seahawks are going to be the first time in franchise history they're going to be on Hard Knocks. But, correct me if I'm wrong here, but was it against Pete Carroll policy to be on Hard Knocks?
The stories were that the NFL had approached the Seahawks about taking part in the Hard Knocks series. It's their 25th season, by the way.
Okay.
And Pete said he didn't want the distraction.
After they had already won the Super Bowl?
I'm not sure if that, it may have been that year.
It must have been.
It may have been that year.
Must have been,
yeah.
Because they were on everybody's radar. Everyone's talking about them.
Yeah. And this is only the second time in franchise history, not Seahawks, HBO's Hard Knocks franchise. Yeah. The first year they did, they followed the 2001 Baltimore Ravens. They were the defending Super Bowl champions. They followed them that year at training camp. That was the launch of Hard Knocks, Ray Lewis and that Ravens team. They went on to make the playoffs, but not repeat as champions in that year.
Sure.
And since then, the teams that have had their team featured on Hard Knocks have not done very well.
So you're saying there's a karmically bad thing when you're on Hard Knocks.
I don't know if it
doesn't bode well for your season. I mean, historically.
I don't know if I'd make it karma or there's no voodoo dolls, but it's the distraction that these networks can impose. And I've seen a lot of people that have pushed back on that line of thinking.
Sure.
That look, they're just filming what's already taking place. There's no extra sessions. There's not like a confession booth. It's not Love on Football Island or some weird thing like reality show like that. They're just filming what's going on.
Writing that idea down. It's not a horrible idea.
But the intrusion of an element that is not just football centric. Pete Carroll thought it was too much, the risk of too much of a distraction for the reward of having your team featured. I mean, no team needs attention right now less than the Seattle Seahawks.
It's true.
As you said, we're the toast of the town.
The expectations are through the roof?
Sure. They got a quarterback who has risen to the top of his skill set at the prime of his athletic career.
Best wide receiver in football.
Best wide receiver in football. You know, they're a solid young roster with a championship defense, maybe the sharpest defensive mind in coaching, and he's only in his going to be third year as the head coach. They got the executive of the year in John Schneider. Of course, everybody wants to be a part of this.
It's interesting because the Seahawks are still for sale, right?
Seahawks are for sale.
Seahawks are still for sale, and I do wonder. Obviously, a team is not going to be featured that an owner does not want to have featured, and if there is a new ownership group coming into town. And I don't know that's the case. I mean, it's not like we have any news here that
that's gone expectedly quiet.
That has gone really quiet. I was thinking about that the other day. There's not been a lot of conversations around that, and I am wondering, is it because there's deals that are happening in the background, or is it because, like, what's the reasoning that they're not chatting about that a lot? And if they were, like, let's say something comes together very quickly, what if you have Hard Knocks on the line and they're ready to go and they're ready to start filming because it's all preseason stuff.
It's agreed upon. Contracts are signed.
And then an owner comes in and goes, "Hey, you know what? We don't want to share all of our secrets," because that's the thing too. Is like you are seeing the insides of how these teams work.
I hadn't even thought about
what
that.
What if a new owner says, "Yeah, forget that"?
Yeah. I don't know. Those are great questions. You know, it may be the NBA expansion is why the Seahawks ownership question has gone dormant, at least from the public eye.
Oh, because there's other teams that people are talking about?
There's big money on the table here with regard to Seattle and ownership. Mm-hmm. Maybe they want to make sure they get that financing and that commitment to ownership locked down for the NBA to guarantee expansion. Then they'll come back up with their NFL ownership situation. Did you know, by the way, today it was announced that the Portland Trailblazers are being sold? Paul Allen's other entity, that's the Allen Family Trust. It was announced today the Trailblazers will be sold to a Texas billionaire at $4.25 billion.
That's kind of a deal.
It's kind of a great deal.
When you look at the expansions for the other teams, between 7 and 10 billion.
Exactly.
He's getting it for half the price.
It is Portland, and I'm no knock on the Rose City. It's one of the smallest markets in the NBA.
Sure.
But that's going to happen today. So Allen's trust is doing what they committed to do, which was divesting the 2 pro teams to benefit the philanthropic efforts and objectives of the late Paul Allen. So I'm not.
Do you want to see them on the team? Because when I saw this news, I went, sweet. I love Hard Knocks. I love watching it. I love the insights.
I'll enjoy it.
It also gets me excited to watch the teams because...
Yeah, I don't get out to training camp.
Yeah, I don't know who these guys are, and you get a little sense of who they are, what kind of cars they drive, how funny they are. And that's what I connect to when I'm watching football.
And it's quality. It's a quality program. HBO
very
knows
well
they know what they're doing. They're great storytellers. Every iteration
got a great voice. It all works.
Every iteration of Hard Knocks has been very entertaining. You know, and they feature teams. You can't blame Hard Knocks for the fact that they had the Jets on, and they had the Bears in 2024 went 5-12 after Hard Knocks came to town. You can't put that on Hard Knocks.
Sure.
I just worry about the little distractions. You hear guys who know in the NFL like Wyman, you know, or go even higher, go Schneider. You know, it takes so much for a team to complete all their goals and win a championship. It's so many tiny little things can derail a team. I was talking to somebody the other day. If the Hawks don't get that 2-point conversion against the Rams, right? The one that bounced off a helmet was deemed a backwards pass and just got picked up by Charbonnet.
There's like a million little things.
Million little things could have gone wrong. They stayed healthy. They got the breaks. They got the bounces. Yeah. And it took every second we had to get to the championship game and win a Super Bowl. And if it's one little thing that Hard Knocks does and changes the butterfly effect. The butterfly flaps its wings over here and we don't win a championship or whatever, Maybe I'm just paranoid.
No, I think it's we just won a Super Bowl and you don't want to mess up that whatever that chemistry is, you feel like, all right, don't touch it. Like you don't talk to a pitcher in the middle of a no-hitter. You just don't talk to him.
You know, it's funny you say that because the EMs had a no-hitter a couple nights ago.
Yeah, haircut.
Right, through 6.
Yeah.
Pitched 97 pitches through 6, no hits.
Beautiful.
And they pulled him. They pulled him for a pitch count. It's early in the season. I get it.
Sure.
But I'm listening back to the broadcast, listen to the radio broadcast, and they're announcing his incredible, performance that night. 9 strikeouts, blah, 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 blah. Never once did the word no-hitter mention.
You don't mention it.
Not once.
Bad karma. Bad juju.
Yeah,
whatever
bad
you
juju.
say.
You don't tempt the fates.
You don't talk about it. And so I do feel like that's the main thing that people are thinking right now. They're like, hey, listen, the chemistry right now, whatever that is. Although on the other side, they have just gotten rid of a bunch of their key guys. Everybody not all of them, but there's a lot of guys. There is a new chemistry in.
There will be, yes.
I wonder if, I do trust Schneider. John Schneider's, I think he's a genius.
I do too.
I do trust Mike McDonald. I think Mike McDonald is a special coach.
I'm with you.
And I'm wondering if they're seeing this also as an opportunity. They're like, hey, listen, guys, this is going to be a bonding experience for all of you guys to go through early in the season before you've been out there in the lights together and all the different things.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity for you guys to shine. We're going to introduce you to the world, the new Seahawks, which hopefully they got many of these guys locked in for many years.
Yeah.
What a great opportunity. There's no more attention right now that's going to be paid to the Seahawks than the year after they win the Super Bowl. And so now you have the opportunity to introduce them on a national stage in a much more in-depth way than people are going to be looking at them, because you're going to welcome these guys into your house outside of their helmets.
Yeah.
You can see these guys wearing their normal clothes. And then suddenly my wife knows all about Seahawks because she's now met them and their wives and what they live their lives like and who they are and how funny they are. Plus, it's a great marketing opportunity.
It really does. And I think you're right. And it also gives the players themselves a sense that now, look, you are it.
Yes.
You're the standard.
This is the new Seahawks.
Right. And this is who we are. This is baseline for us.
I also wonder, too, I was thinking about this. So it's very difficult to repeat a Super Bowl. I mean, don't tell them anybody in Boston. They're fine with it. But you have it's tough to do because you have everybody comes in. If you have anybody who's on a contract year, everybody wants that magic. So they're willing to pay a premium for it, which is what just happened with the Seahawks. Obviously, it's going to happen.
Yeah, you lose coaches, you lose key players.
You lose key players, you do all these different things. And then you have, you have this tremendous opportunity with HBO coming in. And I do think, how do you help a team establish hey, Did we just win a Super Bowl? Yes, but we're not that team anymore. We're a new team now.
Right.
We do have new guys, new exciting pieces. And so we kind of, I say we, like I'm part of the team.
No, hey, you are.
We're a fan,
you yell,
right?
We scream, yeah.
They have to do two things. They have to carry on the winning tradition, and at the same time, they have to kind of throw that winning tradition away and be like, that's not who we are anymore. We're also a new team.
Yeah.
And let's boldly go, in this new direction.
Yeah.
Which hopefully is still in the same direction.
Oh, yeah.
To win the Super Bowl.
I can't wait. You brought me around on this. I wasn't
even trying to. That's great.
I was kind of dreading this. I really was. I think it's an intrusion that an unnecessary potential distraction.
I want to meet these guys.
Yeah.
I want to hang out with them. Not really. I mean, I would, but I don't think you want to hang out with me.
Who wouldn't?
I'm
jealous
I want to see
of
them
those
on
guys
TV.
down the hall. Yeah.
That'd be fun.
You bet. Get to know them. And get them used to the spotlight.
Yes.
This is who you are.
The other thing about Hard Knocks, which is cool, is I've never seen a season of Hard Knocks where they make the teams look stupid. Ever. Hard Knocks is like, do you ever watch the show? I mean, HBO.
Yeah.
Do you ever watch the show Entourage?
Sure.
Everything in Entourage looks cool, even though Hollywood is generally just a disgusting place.
Yeah.
But it looks cool.
Yeah.
And they always make the guys it always turns out happy.
Sure.
Hard Knocks is kind of the same thing. It always makes everybody look cool.
Yeah. It's not an unflattering light.
They're not going to get teams to sign up to share all their innermost secrets behind closed doors.
And make them look like chuckleheads.
Make them look like idiots.
Right.
So it's a fun opportunity.
Yeah, this is going to be good.
I think it's going to be good.
Okay.
Yeah. But or it could be a disaster. And we'll look back and go, why did they go on Hard Knocks?
We tried to tell them.
Don't do it.
It'll premiere in August. It'll be 5 Tuesday nights in a row.
I love it.
Running through early September.
I can't wait.
Seattle Seahawks for the first time ever. NFL's Hard Knocks 2026.
Go Seahawks. All right, we're going to tell you about a new Costco thing. They're testing it here locally, and it's fantastic. I used it the other day. You're going to love it. We'll tell you about it next.
We'll be right back with more of the best of the Jake and Spike Show, KIRO News Radio.
The John Curley Show.
If by the 15th of October rolls around and suddenly it's a bolt of lightning and I croak out right there, I'm fine.
Weekdays 3 to 7.
My dream of growing a giant pumpkin is just a couple of months away. I know somebody who knows somebody who knows a guy who knows a guy who knows someone who got me the seed, the 1,500-pounder, baby. It's in a secret location. I don't want to say where it is.
Watch The John Curley Show live on YouTube.
How was your break?
It was great until I stopped for gas. Prices have gone up almost $1 with no end in sight. I might have to start watching how much I drive.
That's exactly why I use Upside. I never pay full price for gas with the free Upside app.
Upside?
Yes, Upside. It's the free app that gives you cash back just for buying the gas you're already buying. So even with the rising gas prices, I'll never have to limit how much I drive.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Just last year, I made over $200 with the Upside app.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app right now.
Download the free Upside app to earn cash back on the gas you're already buying. Use promo code THRIVE25 for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code THRIVE25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first fill-up. That's THRIVE25.
Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
Are you an adult with uncontrolled moderate to severe Crohn's disease symptoms and still packing a backup bag of clothes? Just in case? Skyrizi Risankizumab Riza can help you take control of your Crohn's. Feel significant symptom relief, including less abdominal pain and fewer bowel movements at 4 weeks. Plus, Skyrizi is proven to help people achieve remission and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Individual results may vary. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's. Ready to take control of your Crohn's? Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's disease.
Control is everything to me.
Learn more at skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel you attract people who tend to be compulsive or abusive?
Do you have money problems because of someone else's drinking?
Are you afraid or embarrassed to bring your friends home?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
More than half of all adults have a family history of alcoholism.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
All right, folks. As we approach Liberty Island, you'll see the iconic Statue of Liberty, standing tall at over 300 feet. The torch in her hand symbolizes a beacon of hope that's held up by her very wavy arm.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. It's proven to slow GA progression and could preserve your remaining vision for longer, so you can keep seeing the world around you. Don't take Izervay if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't wait for your vision changes to progress. Ask your retina specialist about Izervay today. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor. You visit urgent care over and over again. And it's always the same thing, right? Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and some nasal sprays. But they just keep coming back. You may suffer with chronic sinus infections. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure called the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic. Imagine a procedure so delicate there are no narcotics. Less cutting means less bleeding, so no packing, and no operating room. The Sinusoft procedure is designed for the clinic. If you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, and congestion, find out if the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic, is the solution for you. Call and set an appointment today. 206-388-2770. 206-388-2770. That's 206-388-2770.
The John Curley Show.
My dream of growing a giant pumpkin is just a couple of months away.
Weekdays 3 to 7.
The 1,500-pounder, baby. I know somebody who knows somebody who knows a guy who got me the seed.
Download the KIRO Newsradio app.
File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. TurboTax helps you get your biggest refund, and then Credit Karma helps you do more with it. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Guys, your testosterone level impacts your energy, drive, weight, hair loss, and even ED. Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your T level for free. For your free T level check, exam, and consultation, call 206-529-1111 or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Thinking about going hybrid or even fully electric? Carter Subaru is Seattle's only Subaru dealership with the largest selection in our state, including Crosstrek or Forester hybrids and the all-electric 2026 Solterra. Right now, the Solterra comes with 0% APR for 72 months. The Crosstrek starts at 1.9% for 36 months. Visit Carter Subaru in Ballard, Shoreline, or cartersubaru.com.
On approved credit, subject to vehicle insurance and availability, a documentary service fee may be added to the sale price or capitalized cost. See dealer for details. Valid through 4/30/26.
All right, welcome back to the show. Costco. Everybody loves Costco. Every time we mention the Costco, we start getting text messages. You guys can text us, actually. Muckleshoot Casino Resort text line, 888-973-5476. Have you used this new feature, and are you enjoying it? I feel like this is kind of a revolutionary thing. I think every shopping experience is going to keep improving because they have to convince people to get out of your car. You just pull up to places now. You don't even have to get out of your car.
You order on your phone, you pull up the back, they throw it in your groceries, boom, you walk away. Never even get your car.
My wife
never unbuckle your seatbelt.
Does all of our grocery shopping, and she never goes into it. She hasn't been into a grocery store in years. She sits on the couch, and I'm like, what are you up to? And she's like, I'm grocery shopping.
I can't do that.
And she does it all. And previous week's grocery orders are already preloaded. You can just order that again.
Need this, need that, don't need this, don't need that.
We eat all the same stuff. I eat the same thing every single day.
Do you really?
Pretty much. Wow. Poppy seed muffins.
Boom. Costco,
every day.
Though, right? Costco.
Yeah,
for sure. How can you not?
Yeah, for
I got to touch the fruit. I got to pick my own fruit. I got to shop my own produce. I can't trust. I'm sure that shopper assistants, store shoppers.
You're right. I know where you're going. Finish your thought, and then I'm going to confirm what you're going to say.
They want to get the worst thing on the shelf off the shelf. They stock up carts by the last thing, the first thing in, last thing out. Blah blah blah.
Yes.
I want the one in the back. I worked produce for a spring.
Yeah.
Between a summer job and a winter job, between going to the beach for the summer job, I worked produce department at a grocery store for a week. What these people do to fruit and the rotation of stock. I never shop from the front of produce. And I know that these personal shoppers, those are great. Those are wonderful time-saving amenities.
Sure.
Great additional value for the customer base. But I got to touch my own kumquats.
I think that's a smart idea.
I do, man.
And you don't want somebody else touching your kumquats.
No, you don't. No,
absolutely
it's
not.
Nothing more personal.
Yeah, no.
That and keys.
There should be nothing between that kumquat and your
me.
mouth.
That's
but
right.
You
nothing.
And only your hands.
And
100%.
Same with meat. Same thing with meat.
You don't want anyone else touching your meat?
No, I gotta go. I gotta look at them all.
I disagree.
I gotta look at them.
This is.
You almost made it through without breaking.
I did. Made it. I don't mind if somebody else from time to time. I don't mind it.
When I saw this headline from Costco, it terrified me.
No,
because I misunderstood what they were saying here.
So here's what you do. Okay. You pull up at a Costco. I was there last night, stocking up on some things. All the classics: milk, eggs,
TP. You got boys.
No, I did TP last time.
There you go.
And that last 2 times.
Okay.
So I don't need to do that.
Okay.
So I didn't need toilet paper, but I did, you go in for
butter in bulk.
You go in for milk and eggs, and you go out with a million things. It's the best business in the world.
It really is.
You're going to walk into...
I didn't even know I needed snow tires.
Yeah.
But I got them.
100%. I walked in needing milk and eggs, and what I left with was milk and eggs, more butter than I ever thought I'd need, bananas.
You're making a calendar.
2 watermelons, because they sell them 2 at a time now.
Right, sure. Why
2 watermelons, poppy seed muffins, tons of stuff that I didn't need.
That's it.
But I do love it. But you get up to the front there, and you can go to the self-checkout area. And if you go to the self-checkout area, there's a person that will just walk up to you. And they have like a futuristic they look like they're a Star Wars character.
They got a scan gun.
Yes.
Yeah.
They look like they've got a phaser gun from Star Wars. In fact, quick side idea, they should dress them as a sci-fi character just to be fun. And they should walk up to your cart and they just go pew, 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 pew.
Or
100%. Right? Yeah.
Bones used
and then they're going to morph you out of the store very quickly.
See, what I thought when it said they were pre-scanning your cart to get you through. The idea here is to pre-scan your items and expedite the checkout process. They want to get it down to 8 seconds.
That's all it takes.
By the time you get up to the cashier.
All you got to do is go up and tap. You scan your card and you tap and you're done.
See, now I thought they were like scanning the whole cart. And like one big, like an MRI, I thought.
Oh, you mean like you're walking through
I thought you meant, they're going to radiate me and my 2 watermelons. Right? But that's not the case. That, like you said. And I've experienced this. I didn't know this was part of a new pilot program.
Yeah.
That they're going to come out and they're going to speed scan everything in your cart.
Well, it's
beautiful.
They scan your card.
Yeah.
So you're locked into the system, and then they go around. They go boop 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 beep beep boop beep boop boop. They scan everything. By the time you get to the self checkout, you scan your card.
Right.
You tap the thing. You don't even have to swipe anymore.
Because you got a baby under one arm, kid throwing a tantrum right behind the cart. You're out the door.
You know what's fast? I don't do this, but you could. You could use the Costco app to both scan your card and pay for your stuff going out. Yeah. I literally could just pull out my phone and just tap my phone.
Yeah.
And that's it. And they've made it so seamless. Now I can spend all that money faster.
And they can get you
what they want.
And then get on to the next person's money.
Yes.
Genius.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, thanks for listening to the best of the Jake and Spike Show. John Curley's up next. We hope you guys have a great weekend. See you Monday.
Congratulations to KIRO News Radio's Charlie Harger and digital content producer Patrick Janasek, nominated for a Northwest Emmy Award for investigative reporting.
It began with a question from the community. It seemed almost too stunning to be true.
KIRO News Radio is honored to be the only radio station nominated for the prestigious Emmy Award as part of our commitment to impactful storytelling across every platform, reaching into the communities we serve on KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
Spring is the perfect time to make improvements that protect and add value to your home. Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. For decades, homeowners across the Pacific Northwest have trusted our team for roofing, siding, windows, and custom decking. This spring, save up to $3,000, or qualified homeowners can take advantage of 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest up to 24 months. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule your free estimate.
Home is more than a place to live. It's where the best of life unfolds, where possibility sparks, where community grows, where lives take shape. At the Master Builders Association of King and Snohomish Counties, that belief drives the work our builders, remodelers, and tradespeople do every day. Because when we build more homes, we're building so much more than housing. We're making room for what matters most. Learn more at roomforwhatmatters.com.
Join in on the conversation by sending a text to 888-973-5476. That's 888-973-KIRO.
You know, retirement is supposed to be a time of rest and relaxation. But every week I get calls from seniors who are stressed out because their cost of living keeps going up. They love their home and they want to stay in it, but they're struggling with rising property taxes, monthly bills, and monthly mortgage payments if they have one. Hi, I'm Steve Teitler, owner of Best Mortgage, a local family-owned company. I specialize in the reverse mortgage, which allows seniors to tap into your home equity for tax-free cash to pay off your mortgage, pay off debts, and maybe put some extra money in the bank. A reverse mortgage is a great option for some people, but it's not right for everyone. So give me a call and you'll talk directly to me in person or over the phone for honest advice you can trust. Search for Best Mortgage on the web or call us at 425-649-6000. You'll talk to me, not an AI robot. Best Mortgage, 425-649-6000.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Meet Morgan Jones. Morgan is about to step into a world unknown to most, thanks to Progressive's Renters Insurance, a place of fresh linens and turn-down service. You see, Morgan temporarily vacated her apartment and has gone to a hotel because a pipe burst in her apartment. A pipe that made her sense of reality and apartment ceiling all come crashing down. Luckily, Morgan checked into Progressive's Protection Zone. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers.
I'm Bradley Johnson with 1-800-DUI-AWAY, and I want to talk to you about baseball. It's game day. The stadium roof is open. Our club's putting up a fight. They're cold brews in hand. But outside, the police are getting ready to spot fans trying to steal their home base. Maybe the night threw you a curveball, an officer made an error, or perhaps the bases weren't the only thing loaded. At 1-800-DUI-AWAY, we know it's not 3 strikes, it's 1 strike, and you're facing the Grand Slammer. 1-800-DUI-AWAY is here to help, even if we have to go into overtime. So call 1-800-DUI-AWAY or go to 1-800-DUI-AWAY.com to set up your free private consultation. When you're on defense, it's full